Betting reaction to all of the night's action. You're tuned in to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Patrick Meagher, Dustin Swedelson, VSiN.
We are Dustin Swedelson, Patrick Meagher, live from Los Angeles. Brandon helping out in New York City, producing. Of course, our guy Ryan, always steady in Las Vegas. And I got something for you to start the program. Here's what you need to do. If you are in a state that has legalized gambling, you need to get to the book, all right? And here's what I'm going to tell you. Futures. Have you ever heard of a future? So what this means is you get money down now on a team to win in the future. And I'm going to give you a team. It's the New York Giants. For good reason. And not just because the big guy is a fan of the Giants, but because they are putting together one hell of a roster. And they really seem like they have a solid game plan. Because if you're just joining us and you haven't heard, the Giants are signing Russell Wilson to a one-year deal worth up to $21 million. So, again, get your future ticket in. The head coach and general manager feel solid, feel like they've got a good game plan. Because they say one man's trash is another man's treasure. Excuse me. Two man's trash is another man's treasure. Because remember, they did just sign Jameis Winston. Nobody wanted Jameis Winston because he stinks. But the Giants said, we'll take him. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, a model organization, a la the New York Football Giants, said, we literally don't want. And Sean Payton the year before in Denver said, I can't wait to get rid of him, Russell Wilson, and bring in a rookie. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers, who don't have a quarterback, legitimately, Brandon, our producer, could be quarterbacking the Steelers this year. But instead of Mason Rudolph will start before Russell Wilson for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They said, we don't want him, and the Giants said, we'll take him. So just if you're keeping score at home, the Giants' game plan going into 2025, a great season ahead, is Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson. Welcome to the show, Dustin Swedelson, who is a Giants fan, and I'm sure you have thoughts.
Oh, this is a great move for the Giants. I don't think you can objectively look at them signing Russell Wilson and say anything but this is a absolutely home run addition by the New York Giants because it has nothing to do with 2025. The New York Giants stink. The roster is atrocious. Trying to draft a Cam Ward, trying to draft a Shedeur Sanders with a number 3 overall pick, that wasn't going to fix what's wrong with this franchise right now. I mean, outside of a couple Eli Manning runs, the New York Giants are a bottom 3 organization in the NFL over the course of about the last 20, 25 years. They've been horrendous. Also, more dysfunctional than they get credit for as well. Let's also add that they're pretty dysfunctional. I love this move because we have just guaranteed Joe Shane and Brian Daboll will be fired, and the New York Giants will be on the clock in 2026 with the number 1 overall pick.
I used to joke with Tori about this, and I'm about to crush you, so get prepared. Because people in New York City, here's what they do. They call up, and they take it as a sense of pride. They'll call up, like, the local sports talk and say, 25-year fan. Like, it matters when you were born. Who cares? Like, that's some sort of badge of honor. And here's another thing that Giants fans and New York City fans in particular do. They gloss over championships, plural. And so what Dustin just did is he goes, aside from a couple of runs, you mean 2 Super Bowls? Dude, get the hell. No, seriously. Oh. I'm a Lions fan. You can't just say, so my 80 years of futility and you got 2 Super Bowls in your lifetime and you're like, aside from a couple of good runs? That's asinine. You just made the playoffs like 10 minutes ago.
The point
was Daniel Jones.
The point was they were good teams. This organization has not gotten it right in a long time. They happen to benefit from Eli Manning carrying them into 2 Super Bowl wins, going on the heater of a lifetime back-to-back. That's what happened there. Those teams were wild card teams. They had to play on the road. They were not good, well-constructed teams.
They won Super Bowls. It's the ultimate pinnacle of the sport. Get the hell
point. The point is the organization wasn't running properly. They were not a good organization. They were barely getting in, and they happened to get lucky twice.
They're lucky. Well, you know what? As a Lions fan, I'll take the luck. Hopefully I roll sevens. You understand? Because apparently lucky as hell. You know what it makes when you make it as a wild card and win a couple of Super Bowls and beat the Patriots in the process? It makes it more fun. You're a dick. And I'm going to tell you why. And you just need this. And the Mets are the same thing. And I'm pointing at your ass. The Mets are the same thing. 10 minutes ago, with the Dark Knight Rising, they were in the World Series. Or whoever that clown was. I saw, well, I won't say what I said.
Yeah. Matt Harvey was his name. Matt Harvey was his name. And he was very focused. He was locked in all the time. But he had a very high heart rate, and it didn't last very long in multiple ways. I get what you're saying. They won the Super Bowl. It's the point of playing the game. But you have to at least give me that those two teams, it wasn't like they were a powerhouse. They weren't a dominant force. They weren't a dynasty. They weren't well built. They just happened to get the right matchups at the right time and go on a run.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's focus. Yeah, twice. Let's focus on what's happening today. So Russell Wilson, now that the shtick is over, what is this? And I mean that. Like, what is the plan? Obviously, the plan isn't we think Russell Wilson's good. We think Jameis Winston is good. Like, that is laughable. And by the way, you know another element of this when you're talking about culture? You just brought in I think Jameis Winston's fraudulent. I just want to put that out there. I think people are easily duped by his goofy personality. I think he's creepy. That's just my vibe. You feel free to think he's hilarious with eating W's. Okay?
No, I agree.
None of that fake stuff works on me. I could be wrong. That's about growing and admitting your mistakes and admitting you're being judgmental right now. But he's certainly a personality. Russell Wilson, teammates can't wait to get him the hell out of there. So the Giants, who are trying to rebuild something, brought in two of the weirdest people in the NFL to play the most important position. Nailed it. Good plan.
Jameis Winston, corny, but a bad corny. Russell Wilson, corny, but a fake corny. Like, he's not a real human being. He's a cyborg. And then you forgot the third quarterback in the quarterback room. Tommy DeVito stinks at football. Also corny. It is the corniest quarterback room we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. I'm not sure what the plan is, because I do think if you could combine the skills of Jameis Winston with the risks he takes with the football, but with that powerful arm, and Russell Wilson with not attacking the field downward at all right now at this point in his career, I think you combine their forces, you have a pretty solid quarterback. But unfortunately, Captain Planet is not walking through that door.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So you brought two quarterbacks in to perform surgery that's never been done before. Okay, I'm with you. Now it's starting to add up. Yeah, the Giants are making the bionic quarterback. That is a good job by the big guy. All right, I was briefly mad at you glossing over 2 Super Bowls. I'm back. The Giants aren't back. 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Let's set up the program because we do have a lot to. Is this real news from Brandon? The Stephon Diggs is signing with the Patriots.
That's a new one.
3 years.
Oh no,
hold on.
Oh no.
I hate this signing.
Oh no.
The Patriots, who are rebuilding, just brought in Stephon Diggs. Again, people. If teams that have the current player can't wait for them to go away, a la the Houston Texans, you probably shouldn't give them a ton of cash. If the Buffalo Bills couldn't wait to get rid of Stephon Diggs, why do you think he's desirable for your organization who's rebuilding?
If the plan is get Drake May, the number one weapon every quarterback needs to be a franchise quarterback, I'm just curious why Stephon Diggs is the choice when Josh Allen got rid of Stephon Diggs and then won league MVP this year. Feels like if Stephon Diggs is that big of an impactful player, Josh Allen isn't going to put up better numbers when he's gone. I don't know.
But there's more to it because he nailed it with the Josh Allen thing. But so Drake May, who I think we all agree looks like
he's something
spectacular. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to bring the wide receiver in the NFL right now that makes his quarterback miserable and passive aggressively rips the quarterback down.
He's going to
put what Josh Allen's dad said. Josh Allen's dad basically said Stephon Diggs was the worst thing that ever happened to my son.
He's going to put pressure on a kid who's learning a new system because, remember, coach fired after the first year. So now they're going to put more pressure on him to force feed him the ball. All this can do is get in Drake May's head when all you want him to do is be out there and be playing free. Stephon Diggs is the wrong. I know you think you need a number one weapon. Why don't you draft one? Why don't you find one? They're there every year in the draft, and it's not like it used to be. These guys show up day one, and they can be number one receivers if you pick them right. You have the number 4 overall pick in the draft. Maybe there's one that stands out to you. Maybe you trade up, you grab Travis Hunter. But either way, Stephon Diggs is not the guy I want in my organization when I'm a guy like Mike Vrabel, who I've been told by everyone is about building culture. Is Stephon Diggs a guy you want to be part of the foundation of your culture building in New England?
It'll be different here. ... That's
okay.
Vrabel's that type of.
You know what that sounds like?
Other people couldn't handle, but I can. It'll be different here.
And you know who said that? Everyone who ever traded for or signed Jimmy Butler.
And anybody that ever got married.
Fair.
Ours will be different.
50-50.
Do you know how many people listening to Mad Dog Sports Radio on their whip right now are nodding slowly? He's on to something. I like that Patrick guy. I like the cut of his.
What a back-to-back player signing in the NFL offseason. The freaking weirdo Russell Wilson, who yells out while his team's on defense, pass or run so they can hear him from the sideline, and then says corny things like Broncos country, let's ride. And Stephon Diggs, who also, let's be fair, who knows how he looks coming off an ACL injury and when he's going to be available next season.
Who's that, Diggs?
Yeah.
Diggs is my age. I'm old. You're a rebuilding team. It is a nonsensical signing. I'm not on social media, so I don't know what the reaction is. It's to be getting crushed.
No, because people play fantasy football, and all they think about is quarterback, receiver. Oh, my God, highlight reels, crazy throws downfield. The reality is you probably could have done this with the receivers on the roster and been just as successful.
All right, so before I get to the calls, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. A couple things. We're going to have Randle, who's one of the best when it comes to college hoops, talking Sweet 16 at the bottom of this hour. Our buddy Stuart Durst with the props coming up later. Baseball opens up officially on Thursday. We're going to go through the AL West with the big guy and a core 4 bets you can make. We've got Juju Watkins. Dustin and I had a conversation about Juju Watkins and women's basketball in particular earlier today, and I think we have a different angle. We've got the media roundup, and one thing I will tell you, football related, I said it last week when Mel Kiper had Shedeur Sanders going ahead of Cam Ward. I said these organizations, and I've worked with a former GM. These organizations are so fantasy football and so stupid. It's just a bunch of dudes sitting in a room. Don't get it twisted. That when Mel Kiper co-signs it, it's going to start to change the narrative about Shedeur Sanders. And now Shedeur Sanders is your favorite to go 3 overall. Don't give me a smirk. You got to give me a little credit because I said it when it happened.
You did. And it's kind of sad because we're always under the assumption that the people who run these sports teams are actually smarter than us. I think there's some people who want to believe that they're smarter than everyone when it comes to any facet of the world. Ask them about politics, ask them about sports, ask about relationships. They will always have the right answer in their mind. But it is weird that they literally are listening to a guy who goes on TV and who knows what Mel Kiper's success rate of predicting who's going to be good and who's going to be bad. It might as well be a guy sitting at a bar right now. He's not any better or any worse than any other person.
With a horrific Baltimore accent. That'll do it.
But you know what he doesn't have? Does not have a bald spot. He's got a great head of hair.
Yeah, and unfortunately, yesterday's show was a game changer for the back of your dome piece.
Yeah, it was.
Now,
there's no coming back.
Again, I am getting the calls. Let me just ask you, no shtick. Like, what's the point of the Russell Wilson signing?
It's the most desperate of desperate moves because obviously Aaron Rodgers isn't interested. He's going to go to Pittsburgh now. This is just Shane and Dable saying we can't throw Tommy DeVito out there and we don't want to put Shedeur Sanders out there. This may not lose us our jobs. It may not keep our jobs, but he may not lose our jobs. If he can be mediocre, Russell Wilson, maybe there's a chance they get another year. But the reality is, I think he has to be spectacular and they have to make the playoffs for any chance of Dable and Shane to come back to the
playoffs.
I'm just telling you. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that's what he has to do.
They could have Joe Montana quarterbacking this roster. They're not making the playoffs.
I have a better chance of running a 4.40 right now than they do making the playoffs.
888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. All right, let's get to the calls. So if you're just joining us, Russell Wilson has signed with the Giants and Stephon Diggs has signed with the Patriots. I'll put it this way. I can't think of a worse team for Stephon Diggs of the 32. That's all.
I can't think of a team that needs him less with what he brings off the field.
There are no expectations for them next year. Just build it the right way. It's not that hard, people.
You
Let's
have
go to
time.
Steve here, VSiN Live, and say hi to Steve. Steve, welcome.
Hey, guys. First comment, the hot take that the Giants are a dysfunctional organization over the last 25 years with 2 Super Bowl runs beating the greatest quarterback of all time and arguably 3 to 4 Hall of Famers on both those Super Bowl teams is unbelievably shocking.
It's asinine. And by the way, the Bill Parcells era was as good as any era.
That was more than 25 years ago.
But go ahead, Steve.
Regardless, so I think the hot take is that I think this is a great move for the Giants signing Wilson. I don't think that the quarterbacks in the draft outside of Cam Ward are worth our time or draft capital to invest. You build out a team, and ultimately you make the push for Arch long term. Throw all the darts against the board and play for 2026. Shockingly enough, I don't love Joe Shane, but I think he might have made the decision what's best for the organization, vice his job, which I think is commendable. But yeah, that's it.
Well done, Steve. You said throw a dart. They should. Jackson dart and stop with this nonsense.
I mean, is it out of the question that they draft a quarterback? That they add a fourth quarterback to this room? Obviously, you can cut Tommy DeVito. Is there any chance they do draft a rookie to bring him along? Good God, could you imagine the opposite kind of philosophies you're going to get from Jameis and from Russell Wilson bringing a young quarterback along in that room?
You know what we should do? I don't know who the Giants quarterback coach is, but we should have a moment of silence for him because his room sucks. He's gonna walk into his room. He's gonna see Tommy DeVito, Jameis Winston, and Russell Wilson. Have fun. Fun room. At least it's not going to be weird in there. With the fake over exuberance from Jameis, with the passive aggressive oddness from Russell, and the gabagool.
I don't know how you deal with those two personalities. And also, you're going to be coaching one guy saying stop doing this, and the other one stop doing this, and neither of them are going to be the same thing.
I told you I genuinely believe that Winston is the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, we glossed over his past too.
Tom in Cincinnati, we do. Hey, Tom.
Hey, so a couple points. I mean, first of all, I just want to echo your sentiment. That quarterback room just said history in the NFL, the worst quarterback room ever. And the other thing is, if you're a Commander, if you're a Dallas Cowboy or a Philadelphia Eagle, you know you're going 2-0 against the Giants. So today's a great day. And if you're an AFC North guy like me, I'm pretty sure Pittsburgh does not scare me with a geriatric Aaron Rodgers behind center. And I don't recall a time where I have sensed the desperation of teams for a quarterback where you know it's just imminent failure. Russell Wilson's not doing you any favors, and Aaron Rodgers isn't taking Pittsburgh anywhere. I'm sorry, I'm very opinionated about this, but that dude is old, washed. I mean, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, great, good for him, MVP, awesome. Those days are behind him. Russell Wilson, I don't even want to waste my time with this guy, but it's just I've never sensed the desperation of teams to do something but to do nothing at the same time. It's amazing.
Good call. Total desperation is the theme. Totally agree. Because let's do Randle at 440 because we can't cut momentum and go in 10 minutes to college hoops. Even if we do it at 445, we'll just quickly do a hit. But this is pretty big news with Wilson to the Giants and then Stephon Diggs to the Patriots. Tony in Dallas. What's up, Tone?
Hey, boys. Actually, my hot take is exactly what I felt when Seattle made the trade with the Raiders. I think this says a lot about what Shedeur Sanders is not. And I disagree. I don't think Shedeur is going to Cleveland. I think Cleveland's going to draft Abdul Carter. They're going to have the best defensive line in the league, even though they can't figure anything else out. But I think this says a lot about Shedeur Sanders, and it reminds me of Matt Leinart when everybody thought Matt Leinart was going to go high, and he dropped like a lead balloon. I think that the true scouts, to your point, there are a group of people that seem to listen to what Mel Kiper says or what kids playing PlayStation says, like the Jets, like Woody Johnson. But I think there's a lot of true GMs out there and scouts that just don't feel like Shedeur Sanders is it. And I think that they can get a lot of value. I think the Missouri quarterback's good. I think that obviously the Ole Miss quarterback is good. And they can get a quarterback in later rounds and not spend that draft capital. I think the Giants will probably go, Travis Hunter makes a lot of sense. Or get a boring pick like the best offensive line in the league, because it doesn't matter who you have back there. If you don't have offensive line, obviously you're just not going to make it. So I think this says a lot about what Shedeur Sanders is not.
Good job, Tony. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. We're trying to solve the riddle that is Russell Wilson to Dustin's Giants. And Patriot fans, how's Stephon Diggs taste? What the hell is that? We'll continue with your calls. It's VSiN Live. Remember, find us on YouTube stream. Get in the chat. Say what up. Give us a subscription and the thumbs up. And on the phones, you're on Mad Dog Sports Radio, 888-623-3646. VSiN Live.
All right, great
This
format.
is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Yeah, you can check out the bets, vsin.com/bets for all of the pros plays. We were just looking, so Jimmy Butler's returning in 3 minutes, returning to Miami, and Golden State's laying 4.5. And I said, Dustin, what the hell is this number? And he just found out it looks like Steph's not playing, correct?
Yeah, it was pelvic something was the ruling, but we're at a point in the year, 9-10 games for most of these teams. If a player matters and they've played a lot of minutes, don't expect them to play their usual minutes at this point if they're prepping for the playoffs, and that's what's happening with Steph tonight.
Okay, so Steph is out, but the big news as we welcome you back here on the program is the bottom line. I'm not trying to be negative, and Dustin's not being negative about his team either, but Russell Wilson is signed with the Giants. So the Giants have added Jameis Winston and now Russell Wilson. I think it's a laughable signing. Nobody wants him. The Giants have a terrible team. I don't know what they're trying to piece together for a year. And then almost as bad for me, big guy, is Stephon Diggs to the Patriots. What are you doing? You build this team the right way. Stephon Diggs, Houston didn't want him. He was the only option for Josh Allen. They couldn't wait to get rid of him. As Dustin said, Josh Allen got rid of Diggs and won an MVP. I hate the signing for the Patriots, not just being negative.
Let me be clear about the Giants signing. I think it's a great signing for the Giants because it has nothing to do with winning football games. It puts them further away from being productive as a team. I think they're going to be horrible with Russell Wilson. He is so risk adverse. He absolutely doesn't push the ball downfield at all anymore at this point in his career. The whole thing used to be Russ throwing those medicine balls downfield or whatever they were called, the Hail Mary shots, and letting him cook. He's not capable of doing that anymore. So I love this for the Giants because it means you're going to get a new regime. You're going to get a new quarterback next year. They're going to draft either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, who I think will be game-changing players for them. Everything about this I love in terms of the direction of the New York Giants. It's just another year of them being horrible, which is fine. They've averaged 5 wins a year over the last 8 seasons, so I'm fine with that. On the Diggs thing, it just feels like mixed messages because I was told Gerard Mayo was fired because Mike Vrabel is a culture builder, and that's what he did in Tennessee. And if I'm building a culture, the last thing I want is a guy like Stephon Diggs who complained his way out of Minnesota, complained his way out of Buffalo, and then Houston said, nah, I know we underachieved this year, but we don't want you back.
Yeah, it's weird. Mike in Pennsylvania here at VSiN Live. Hi, Mike.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, Mike?
No, I think this is a good signing for the Giants. It's a one. Okay, everyone's making a big deal about what the hell are they doing. This roster's not good enough for Russell Wilson. Well, I think we all live. We all don't live year to year with our jobs. Joe Shane and Brian Dable are living this year for their jobs. The roster, believe it or not, people are not saying it's bad. It's not that bad defensively, and offensively, we're there if we have a guy that can just throw the damn ball, not sit in the pocket and hold the ball. So maybe we do go offensive tackle with Kirby Moore from Missouri that helps that line. The guy's a beast at Missouri. Or we do go Travis Hunter. It is a one-year fix, but I think it's a one-year fix just to save their jobs. I don't know if this makes sense or not, but if I don't perform, and we all know if they don't perform this year, they're going to lose their damn jobs. I like it. I'm a Giants fan. I've been waiting, and I love it, but I hate it. I do love Cam Ward. I love it to the death. I do. I love it. I hate it because I love Cam Ward.
That's the best line, Mike. No, I'm letting you go because you nailed it. That is the best line of the night. I love it, but I hate it. My only issue would be the Steelers obviously need a quarterback, and they didn't want him. I know they're getting Rodgers. It's a long-lost secret that is going to come to fruition, but the Steelers didn't want him. You can't justify it. Let me get a couple more calls in. Yeah. Go ahead. I was saying, but he's saying the recipe is the defense is good enough. Just have Russell Wilson not screw it up. But the Steelers' defense is better than the Giants' defense. Correct. And they didn't do anything with him, and then they said bye-bye. That's all. Yeah. They said, take care. Nice hair. Steve's in Arizona here on VSiN Live. Hi, Steve.
What up, Patrick Mawa? What up, D-Sizzle?
Racking, Steve. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing, Patrick?
Good.
As far as quarterback rooms, I got 2 that are worse than the Giants' quarterback room, and both of them belong to your team, my home team. The Detroit Lions, when Detroit Lions when they had Joey Harrington as the starting quarterback.
Oh.
And then going back even further when they had Eric Hipple as their starting quarterback.
Listen, Steve, we battled many bad quarterbacks. But I'm saying from a personality perspective, walking into a room that includes Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson is a freaking nightmare.
Those are two non-genuine human beings. They are putting on an act at all times, and they're very odd.
Yeah. I got to be honest. I think I could deal with Wilson more than Winston.
Oh, that's interesting.
Winston, he seems like such a fraud to me.
Like he turns it on when the camera's around too.
Yeah, but it
Like,
makes
that's
me
definitely
uncomfortable.
happening.
What everybody's laughing at with his shtick online, I get uncomfortable.
I said it before. I still get uncomfortable that we just act like everything that happened with him in the past never happened, and it's super shady, and super gross.
Right.
And like we just moved on. Everyone's like, he's so lovable. Look up the Wikipedia page.
Just Google it. With Jameis Winston college issues.
There was a lot of them. It's a long list, so set aside some time.
Larry in Philadelphia here on VSiN Live. Hi, Larry.
Howdy, boys. Yeah.
What's up?
So Jameis is a fraud, and then Russ, that's a joke signing. I mean, we think it's to get the number one pick for Arch Manning, except the Giants, I totally agree, are like such a poverty organization. They're going to screw it up. And if that, like, dork Eli didn't throw the ball off some guy's helmet, and don't forget, Favre did what he did, which is he's at home in -5 degree weather and loses to that dork. It's like they're a poverty franchise, and they're going to screw this up as well. Yeah, baby.
Wait, hold on. And you love calling from Philly to bag on the Giants, I'm guessing.
This is a troll. I agree. I bleed eagle green, so I'm just piling on. I mean, but listen, how is this even possibly happening right now? Russ and Jameis in the same room? This is worse than the Cowboys at this point.
It's hilarious. He said that dork Eli threw it off someone's helmet and won a Super Bowl.
Now, I'll give him this, though. I'll give him the second one, though. You can't take anything away from the Manningham throw. It might be the greatest throw in the history
Manningham
of sports.
throws the best throw I've ever seen. Along the sideline, from his own end zone. It's the best throw. Eli threw the best pass that's ever been
in the only possible window the ball could actually fit through.
The Mario Manningham throw in real time, I gasped how perfectly it was thrown. A human being couldn't throw a football better than that dork Eli did on that pass.
Your video game, Madden, wouldn't allow you to complete a pass like that. It wouldn't compute it.
I'm not kidding. I YouTubed that throw for inspiration. Just to see it. Let's see. Christian in Dallas here on VSiN Live. Hi, Christian.
Hey, boys. How are you tonight?
What's up, Christian?
Well, I'm a little disappointed you guys brought up Juju and the WNBA and that stuff because now it's guaranteed that Mike and the OC is going to call into the fourth show today and talk about how Juju is the second most popular person in LA sports behind Shohei Ohtani.
He's insane. He's a liar. He's insane.
Yeah.
I assure you, Christian.
He says he's got the pulse on LA sports. He's got the pulse on the Anaheim Angels and all the teams from back in the 80s.
He's a liar. Mike and the OC is a liar. She is definitely not that.
Total.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But no, I think that this is actually one of the drafts where they actually need to kind of take a play out of the whoever's going to draft, like Shedeur Sanders needs to take a play out of the Washington, whatever they were when they drafted RG3 and get somebody in the fourth round. And I think the guy they need to go, that they should go after is my boy Kyle McCord out of Syracuse. And because nobody's talking about him at all, but he was just with Gruden, and Gruden even says the guy's got a cannon of an arm. He's smart as hell. No, he's not going to run like the wind, but he can still get out of the pocket. He can get out of trouble if he needs to. And I think he's actually going to be a solid player. So does Phil Simms too. So, but hopefully with how far away the Jets and Giants are now from sniffing the playoffs, Super Bowl, finally, hopefully they'll change their name to what they need to be, which is the New Jersey Jets, because there's only one team that plays in New York, and that's my Buffalo Bills. Have a great day.
Listen, I like McCord, by the way, as a player. I mean, he's not a first rounder. I'm just saying.
No, he's gonna be a backup in the league for a while. My issue would be he had NFL receivers, NFL talent at Ohio State, and he did not put up big passing numbers.
Larry said something though that I was obsessed with when I lived in New York. The Giants and Jets, like New Jersey didn't start as a state like 20 minutes ago. It's been around for a long time, and they're cool with being. It's the state of New Jersey. That's where the Jets and Giants play. It's asinine.
No, the state of New Jersey is sitting in the corner of the hotel room watching the state of New York plow its wife. It is getting completely cuckolded in this situation by just letting the more dominant state come into its territory, take over, and brand not one, but two football organizations within its borders.
I gotta be honest, I knew the joke was coming, and it still got me. So
it was a little aggressive, I'll admit
but it was funny. Hey, funny plays. They are getting cuckolded by another state. Like, stand up for yourself, dude. Pull yourself together. You're freaking New Jersey. That got me. Hey, what we'll do is we'll go Randle, Sweet 16, top of the hour. We'll go right back into the football. It's VSiN Live.
All right, great. 4 minutes.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, we'll get back to the football drama. Wilson to the Giants, Diggs to the Patriots. Disastrous, both of them. But Randle's here. It's greatness. Mike Randle, FTNFantasy.com. SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio host coming up 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time right after this hit. We say, now, your slogan is it's greatness. One thing that's not great is this whack-ass NCAA tournament. Defend it.
I can't. And there's a lot of people out there who are trying to lie with statistics, which was my book in college at Boston College on how to lie with statistics. Guys, they moved all the games to nighttime. So the overwhelming majority of games are at night, and they're bragging about their ratings. They're bragging that the ratings for the tournament are so good. That's great. I remember back 20 years ago where we used to take a day off. We would go and watch the games because 8 games would be done by 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's not been exciting. We want madness. We want the upsets. We want David versus Goliath. We have not gotten that. I do think, guys, it means there's going to be some really good Final Four games. I get that. But we want upsets early and blue bloods late, not blue bloods early and blue bloods late.
Yeah, and the 1 seeds look pretty secure. And in a chalky tournament right now, Randle, I don't love it as someone who wants the chaos, who wants the madness, because, you know, it's part of the branding of this entire thing. If you're going to pick me one of these 1 seeds that doesn't make it through this weekend, through the Elite Eight, who is it?
That's Houston, because their path is so tough. Houston actually has to play in Indianapolis, Dustin, which is, 66 miles away from Purdue's campus. And they're playing a Purdue team that returns 3 solid players from last year's team that made the finals. And then what's the reward if you somehow get through Matt Painter and Purdue? You have the winner of Kentucky, Tennessee from the SEC, which was the best conference in the country this year. And I'll tell you something, Cougar fans, you don't want to see Rick Barnes. And I know Rick Barnes, we've heard about, he's like the flu, comes on strong, and by March he's gone. I get it. Guys, they will go elbow to elbow, screen to screen with you. That game will be 45-44. You want no part of a low variance game. You want Kentucky. You want Mark Pope without Jackson Robinson, their leading scorer. So this is a tough path. If one team, Dustin, gets knocked out, it's going to be Houston.
All right, so before we get to the Sweet 16 matchups with the best to do it, Mike Randle, there's so many disappointing performances, but I'll pick one. That St. John's performance and Patino, that was disgusting. People telling me how great St. John's is. That team stinks. Now, the game was terrible. It was choppy, Randle. It was a ref show, but St. John's was horrible in that game.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, guys. The only thing with St. John's was they get games where they can't make a jump shot. And they happen to have that game at the absolute worst time. Did I think it was going to happen? Yes. I thought it would happen against Florida. But that was a terrible game. And you guys, can we pipe down about criticizing Rick Pitino? I think Rick Pitino knows what he's doing. We've all had a situation where a player is just mentally shot. And that's my guess at what RJ Lewis was. He's forgotten more basketball than we'd ever know in our life combined. So obviously he knows his player, and he knows his player was mentally done at the point. That's why he's doing it. But I'll tell you something. Kadari Richmond getting in foul trouble is somehow getting a pass. That was just as big a deal. They should have found a way to win it. They didn't. So now Arkansas gets a right to get smacked around by Texas Tech. That's fine.
Well, what do you think about Arkansas covering the number, Mike? They're catching 5.5 in this spot. Is this an actual letdown spot in an NCAA tournament game coming off that win? I know the Razorbacks are getting healthier, but do they have any chance of staying within 5.5?
Yeah, they have a chance because Texas Tech still doesn't have Chance McMillan, their leading guy. And you know, Calipari's really good. He's been an underdog only a few times. I think he's 6-2 in his career as an underdog in the tournament. It's fine. Texas Tech has games where they can't make shots either, guys. So it's a coin flip to me. I have no strong feeling one way or another, but Adu Thero coming back for Arkansas is actually a big boost here. So it's a coin flip for me. I think this is the right to lose to Florida. I think Texas Tech wins, but if you want to grab it, I'm fine with that. Dustin with Arkansas.
BYU's Bama, and Bama's laying 5.5. Do we like BYU here?
Let's put them on the money line. See you later, Bama. Bama hasn't played well all year. Guys, last year, and I'm still salty because they knocked Clemson out. I get that when they went 16 of 32 from three-point range in the Elite Eight. That doesn't happen anymore. All right, BYU is well coached. Guys, you know this. In college football, the same is true. When a professional coach comes down and goes to college, they usually do very well, because they bring a level of schematic X and O's. And that's what Kevin Young is doing, the head coach for BYU. He's an assistant for the Phoenix Suns for years, and now he's destroying it at BYU. No way this should be an underdog. We're that thrilled with Bama. Why? Because of Nate Oates a couple of years ago? Because of their run last year? Different team, different circumstance. I'll take BYU to win outright.
Second matchup on Thursday, Randle. Full disclosure, I've got 85-1 on Maryland to win the whole thing, so I'm mostly trying to get your opinion to see if I have to hedge pregame or if I can get a good number in-game. With Maryland winning on a buzzer beater, is there any chance we could see a team of destiny situation and they give Florida all they can handle?
Zero. That ticket and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee. That's fine. Maryland, Kevin Willard is not a great coach in big spots. I mean, do we need – remember back – you guys are too young to remember this. Dale Brown with LSU back in '86 was in the Final Four. And there was a video of him going inside the huddle during the Final Four saying, okay, we got to play defense. We got to play defense. And the players go, Coach, it's our ball. He goes, right. It's our ball. It's our ball. Okay, we got to take the last shot. Who wants to take the last shot? And I hear Kevin Willard bragging about the fact that he took a survey. What'd you do, a Google Doc and took a survey there on who wants to take the last shot? You're the head coach. You're the leader. You tell them who to take the shot. So he got bailed out by a lottery pick, Derek Queen. Great job. No way. No chance they're winning this game. No, Maryland is not beating Auburn. Get out of here with this. I don't even get this one. Enough here with Kevin Willard. No team of destiny. You're trying to force a square peg in a round hole, Dustin.
I had Colorado State money line big, by the way. Arizona Duke. Duke's laying 9.5. Are they going to cover that?
Yeah, I'd lay 18.5. I mean, Duke is just that good from start to finish. Guys, we can build the narratives all we want about Caleb Love against Duke. Yeah, how about Duke against Caleb Love? How about that? Caleb Love's going to shoot you in and out of games. Tommy Floyd in this spot against this team. Cooper Flagg is playing at an elite level, like the #1 overall pick here. If they don't make shots, one player doesn't make shots, the other one does. Unless there's an injury, this is Duke by double digits.
How about we got Chris Beard and Izzo? And Izzo, look, we'll talk a little pressure. I think there's a little pressure on Izzo this year. I think Patrick may disagree, but Sparty's laying 3.5 against Beard and Ole Miss, who, by the way, have no offensive game plan, Randle. Total's 144.5. If you're picking a side, doing something with the total, what would you do here?
I'm going to go with Ole Miss, but Dustin, I've had a bad read on Michigan State only because they just have zero talent. I mean, they don't have a player on the All Big Ten first and second team. That is a credit to how great Tom Izzo is. But I knew in that game against New Mexico, I was done when Jackson Kohler is clearing out for a one-on-one post move that takes approximately as long as I would take to run a mile. But they're still working. That's not going to work against Chris Beard and Ole Miss. They have better athletes. I know this sounds weird, and Izzo, you want a team of destiny. It could be Michigan State, Dustin. That's fine. I will take Ole Miss and the points. But Izzo is beating teams with significantly less talent. It's incredible, and he's doing it over and over again. But I'm going with my guy, Chris Beard, because before the tournament started, I had Ole Miss versus Auburn, and I think it's going to happen.
Michigan State's still 22-1, by the way.
Don't love the analogy because Mike Randle did run track at Boston College. So
not the mile.
Runs the mile. He was a burner. Mike Randle joining us talking Sweet 16. Your boy Dusty May, Auburn. Auburn's up to 8.5. I see one book, DraftKings 9.5. Anyway, should Auburn be 8.5, 9-point favorites here?
I love Dusty May for 2 years ago at Florida Atlantic. I love him for the rest of my life. But I don't get this Michigan team. Guys, how many times can they escape? Take a look at the one-score games they've played this year. You know in the NFL that's going to regress, and it's going to regress here at some point also. They do have bigs, which has been able to carry them, Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf. They were able to get by UC San Diego. They went by Texas A&M because I told you there's times when Texas A&M just cannot make a shot. That's not going to happen with Auburn. Chad Baker-Mazara went down. He's okay. Janai Broome should be able to limit Vlad Golden. If Vlad Golden doesn't have a big game, Michigan does not win. And I know Trey Donaldson's great. He'll have 8 points, but he'll have like 4 in the last minute. I get it. I think Auburn rolls here. Guys, I told you before we started this whole thing that I thought this was at least 3 #1 seeds getting to the Final Four. I will be shocked if we don't get 3, and I think we could be getting 4.
Oh, it's so gross, Randle. It's so gross. It's not fun.
2008. Last time it happened, 2008.
I want someone to make a run here. So if you, with the pressure theme that I was just talking about, if you were going to say there's one coach under the most pressure to get it done, and let's just say go to the Final Four. They don't have to win it all, but they have to be their Final Four. Who's the coach that has the most pressure right now?
I mean, I think Pearl's got to get there. I know Pearl has been there before, but let's face it, Dustin, until the last couple games of the regular season, Auburn was it was clearly the number one team in the entire country. They are playing Michigan, who they should be able to handle. And then they're playing the winner of Michigan State. Again, name 3 players on Michigan State. I'll hang up and listen. Or Old Miss, who they've beaten twice already this year. So I think Auburn's got to get there. Shire's got to get there, but he's young. You know, Pearl's been around for a while. I think he's the one who has to get there. I do think that Sampson is the one who wants it the most. Sampson's been to 1. They just got rid of Gonzaga, and now he's going to play this whole world is against me here. But, Dustin, that is a tough bracket. We give Tennessee a 23% chance of getting to the Final Four. That's a little high. That's a little high when you're in Houston's bracket.
And you can see those over at ftnfantasy.com. Painter, he's been terrible in the Sweet 16. Do you think Houston covers the 8?
That's an absurd comment. Terrible in the Sweet 16. He should have been in the Final Four, Patrick, if not for that ridiculous last-second shot by Virginia. So he could actually have 2 Final Fours behind Carson Edwards and then the team last year. I think he can cover. Yes, I think they're at Indianapolis. And remember, when Kelvin Sampson was at Oklahoma, I forget what year it was, maybe 2003, very early, they were a 1 seed, and they were shipped out to New York and played Syracuse in the Elite 8 and got boat raced in that game. Now they're playing in Indianapolis. We're going to have boiler ball all over the place. Gene Cady will be there. Everyone will be there. This is a tough spot. I think Purdue covers, yes.
Hold on. I didn't see the switch up from Randle with the Painter greater than Sampson diatribe. I mean, what is that?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. What I'll say is this, Patrick. The hardest thing to do in any sport is sustain success. I remember people said Bill Self couldn't win the big one. What are you talking about? He's won 2. Calipari's won 1. Everyone hates Rick Barnes. You know how many teams would take 25 wins a year? That's why I'm kind of rooting for Rick Barnes here. No, Kelvin Sampson's better than Matt Painter, but Matt Painter's not bad. Matt Painter's not a bad coach. He's been to 1 Final Four, and if Diakite doesn't hit a shot over his shoulder at the foul line, he's to 2 Final Fours. I think that's good enough at Purdue. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they can shoot. I guess, Randall, my concern would be playing in Lucas Oil. A little odd that you've got everyone else playing in normal arenas, and then you've got that game in a football stadium already. That seems like a weird disadvantage for those 3-point shooting teams like Purdue.
It does, but it also affects Houston. Now, Purdue's going to have to D up with them, but Trey Kaufman-Wren's a very difficult matchup problem. I will agree with you, Dustin, that seeing Jawan Roberts healthy, the big man who played very well, that's a sigh of relief because they're going to need him. But remember, Emmanuel Sharp and LJ Cryer, those guys got to hit outside jump shots too. I get it, and I'm rooting for Houston because I want to see Houston, Tennessee. That's the matchup I want to see. Rick Barnes, Kelvin Sampson, something's got to give. But I think Purdue keeps it close. This is a tricky one for Houston. Remember, Dustin, Houston lost to Texas Tech with their best player kicked out of the game and the head coach kicked out of the game 4 minutes in at home. And then they lost to San Diego State. Name 3 players on San Diego State. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you very much.
Randall headed over to do his program, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. You can see the numbers over at ftnfantasy.com, at Randall Rant on Twitter. Before we say goodbye, Wilson to the Giants? What the hell is that?
Odd. I saw a tweet. I forget where it's from. Guys, quarterback room in New York, Winston, Wilson, and Tommy DeVito. Is that the oddest quarterback room in the world? Maybe.
Psychopathic. Anyway, the Sweet 16, we're going to get good games. I can feel it, Rand. Go over and do your show. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there he goes. Mike Randall. That's greatness. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could butter up the pig, put some lipstick on it by saying that, we haven't had any excitement, but maybe now these matchups are going to be great.
Could we put our money where our mouth is? Because in order for that to happen, that means someone needs to go on a run, and I'm looking at the futures, and I already have too many, and a bunch of them have already lost. But Michigan State at 22-1 does feel a little bit long with the way they play for tournament style. I already have Texas Tech, but 18-1 does also feel a little bit long with their potential. If we want to put our money where our mouth is and hope for some upsets, we should start fading some of these number 1 seeds.
What's Michigan State's number?
22-1. They've been 22-1 for like a month. Hasn't budged.
That's tremendous. They just don't have the players. I don't know how he's doing it.
It's Tom Izzo. It's Tom Izzo. You know what he is? He's everything that everyone said Rick Pitino is. That's what he is, but better.
January, February, Izzo.
Rick Pitino's not doing that with this group. Well, I guess his team couldn't shoot either, but maybe his team was a little deeper, a little more veteran. Look, Michigan State, 22-1. When you have the coach that you trust the most this time of year, that's enticing me. It's one of the four teams between 17 to 22-1. Tennessee 17-1, Alabama 18-1, Tech is 18-1, and Sparty's 22-1. Those four teams, they intrigue me because it feels a little bit long.
Well, you already have Texas Tech, right?
Yeah, I have like 35-1 on them.
This tournament stinks. I'm trying to drum up some excitement.
No, dude, it's horrible. It's and then the transfer portal opened today. So we got players on the Michigan roster putting their name in the portal when they got a game against Auburn coming up this week. Good sport. Good planning, NCAA. You nailed it.
Sport.
Good plan.
NCAA
Good plan.
rules.
Sport died. For a while, all you had for this entire sport of college basketball, you had the month of March. And now that doesn't deliver, so what are you? You're completely irrelevant.
888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. Good tournament.
Tournament stinks.
So deflating. Oh, excuse me. I was going to say DeVito, but yeah.
I'm watching Love is Blind. I'm going to watch Love is Blind this weekend.
Wilson with the Giants, Diggs with the Patriots, and we got to get to Juju Watkins as well. We continue. Remember, you can find us on YouTube at VSiN Live. We're back. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Sweat your bets with VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
VSiN's 24/7 sports betting coverage is on SiriusXM Channel 158 and the SiriusXM app, delivering real-time insights, expert picks, and in-depth analysis around the clock. Right now, VSiN is offering, this is a great deal, offering new subscribers an exclusive deal. Get your first 30 days of VSiN Pro access, and again, that's everything for $1.58. Daily best bets from not just hosts, but the guests and experts and professional bettors, exclusive betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access, full VSiN.com access, our March Mania betting guide. Again, go to VSIN.com/subscribe. Use the promo code SIRIUS, and again, you get 30 days for $1.58. You can cancel after, once the 30 days is up, you can cancel. It's that simple. VSIN.com/subscribe. Okay, we got you back here. VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. We are streaming on YouTube, so go over there. And remember, when you're at the VSiN Live YouTube, you can see a capsule of all the Sweet 16, the 8 Sweet 16 matchups for completely free. So give a subscription and a thumbs up there. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. Brandon producing, Ryan Smith in Las Vegas, as we welcome you back. The news, did it drop right before we started the show with Russell Wilson?
Yeah, it was probably about 5 minutes before we hit the air. Russell Wilson signing with the Giants, $10.5 million guaranteed 1 year, can be up to about $21 million, if my memory serves correctly, and he will be the New York Giants QB1.
Yeah, with Russell Wilson to the Giants, kind of hilarious, if we're being honest. Now Jameis Winston in the same quarterback room with DeVito. I mean, it's trifling. If you're a Giants fan, like the big guy is, you're happy with it because it means that eventually Dayball is going to get fired, obviously, and Shane, who's the general manager, he gone after this year.
Yeah, I don't want the Giants to be competitive. I'm sorry, I've watched this team stink for long enough now. I went through Pat Shurmur, Ben McAdoo, Joe Judge. Let's do it right. Like, let's get it right this time. And honestly, I think there's a lesson for a lot of these front offices when it comes to Joe Shane and Brian Daboll. They make the playoffs with Daniel Jones. They pay Daniel Jones. Ultimately, what's going to get them fired is they wasted all that money on Daniel Jones, when if you go back and look that season, it also happened to be a year where Saquon Barkley was healthy, and he was your number one offensive weapon. So I think that will be a lesson for other organizations. Just because you show up and make the postseason with a player, if that player's not special enough to win you a Super Bowl, move on and get your own people in there. At least it resets the clock for the expectations.
And Stephon Diggs to the Patriots signed a 3-year, $69 million deal. 26 of it is guaranteed. Again, I am not trying to be negative. I legitimately hate that signing for the Patriots. And you can, a myriad reasons. One, he's old. He's a depreciating player on a team that's building a young roster. Two, Josh Allen couldn't wait to get rid of him. The Houston Texans couldn't wait to get rid of him. Again, do the Patriots not know somebody that works for the Texans and just simply call him and be like, you think so? No? Yes?
It's confusing because you look at the team that's kicking him to the curb. What could they use? They could use a number one, right? I mean, they have good receivers, but you'd like to have that veteran in there because the rest of the receiving core is kind of young. And that's why you brought Stephon Diggs in. He got hurt. And C.J. Stroud's coming off a lackluster sophomore season. So if that organization and the situation they're in, trying to take the next step is saying, we're good, anyone can have Stephon Diggs, that would leave me wondering why he's available.
By the way, can Josh Hart grab a rebound? I love betting Josh Hart over 9.5. If it's not doubles on the rebound props, I'll always bet it. For one quarter in, he's got one board. That's not typical.
Yeah, I mean, but he's also being asked to do more offensively without Jalen Brunson in the lineup.
Fair enough. Warriors without Steph at the Heat, down 28-22. My Pistons killing the Spurs 60-34 at the break. You've got the Magic at the Hornets. The Magic up 63-51. I mentioned the Mavs at the Knicks. There's no way Anthony Davis is playing, right? Let's see.
No, he's out today. I think he's questionable for Thursday.
Anthony Davis returned from his injury last night. He's not going to play on back-to-back, coming back from injury. The Knicks up 2 to start the second, 37-35. Anything later that matters? I mean, I guess
no, Thunder Kings.
Thunder Kings, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking
not a great
from
slate.
from a prop perspective, I want to see who else gets ruled out for the Jazz. That Markkanen's not playing, Clarkson's not playing. It might be a Walker Kessler night for the Jazz. And by the way, we may go Desmond Bane as well because Ja Morant is out.
Desmond Bane, Ja is out. Ja doesn't. They're saving Ja for the postseason. Ja's not having a great year, by the way.
You were really high on them a few months ago. Do you still feel the same way?
No.
Yeah.
I might have been doing a little shtick.
No. I think there's something there, but I actually think they could trade Ja for another level superstar, and I'd be intrigued by the rest of the roster because I think they have some interesting depth.
Ja averages like 15 points a game.
Yeah, but you package in with like 2 other pieces and some picks, you get a legit superstar to Memphis.
Their best player is the state kid, Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, but he's a big, so it's like, how far does that get you?
Let's get to your calls. 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Let's talk to a Pats fan. It's our buddy Adam in Louisiana. What's up, Adam?
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm going to probably take a little bit of a different stance here because, frankly, I don't trust my Patriots to draft a receiver. Last time I saw them take a receiver in the first round, it was N'Keal Harry, and is he even still in football?
No.
But anyways, I like Stephon Diggs. He's better than anyone we have right now. Obviously, our receiver room is one of the worst in football. Before, I understand, yeah, he's aging, but I mean, I look at last year with the Texans before he got hurt. He was looking like he was pretty good there. You know, I don't know why they don't want him back, but I thought he looked pretty good on the field. I think if he can be anything like that for us, I like this signing for us because he immediately becomes our number 1 wide receiver. Now, do we need more than just him? Probably. But I think that this is something that we haven't had in a long time. The last time we had a name on the Patriots at wide receiver that wasn't, Julian Edelman, I have to go back to say, like, maybe Wes Welker, Randy Moss. Like, we're going back 20 years here at this point.
Yeah, listen, as far as free agents, like, I would have been fine if they were in the Metcalf sweepstakes to pair him with Drake May for Metcalf's 27. Diggs gonna be 32.
No, but I also would say it's not a great receiving draft class in the first round, but I think there's value later. Like, I would find a slot guy. You mentioned Welker and Edelman. Well, part of, like, getting a rookie acclimated to the NFL is to get him, like, easy throws, and a slot receiver does that. If I'm the Patriots, I'm looking in, like, the 2nd, 3rd round. I mean, maybe I'm reaching, but Xavier Restrepo out of Miami is the guy. That guy is so reliable. He has great hands, can make plays in space. There's options out there. You didn't have to go after a guy in Stephon Diggs who has complained about every stop he's been in on the way out.
Some would say America's great. Let's make it great again. Let's say hi to our buddy Hayden in D.C. Hi, Hayden.
I mean, the world is great right now if you're a Terrapin fan. I mean, the first time ever, we've both, the men and the women, in the Sweet 16. And that moment at the wrestling was fantastic with the commander-in-chief, with the kid from Oklahoma State, with the big upset, draping the flag. Trump.
Yep,
that was awesome.
I agree. Yeah. Hey, by the way, I had Colorado State. Money line big, and your boy took like 100 steps.
Oh, come on. I mean, really? I won't even make the line I want to say, but I got one major concern because we played like dog crap against Colorado State. We got survive is just, barely by the skin of my teeth. We've got to get that ticket out of Dustin's hands. I can't.
No, it's working, Hayden. I thought you were going to give the guy props.
I'm more nervous now than ever. We should have beaten Colorado State by 10 points. We had a kid take an elbow to the head. They wouldn't even review it for us. A lot of nerves still, but hey, big guy, I'm gonna get on your back. I guess if I have no choice, I'll get on your back. I'm gonna ride you to San Antonio.
Hey, Hayden, you're gonna think I'm nuts, and maybe this is the kiss of death. I think they're live against Florida. I think the Florida hype's gotten out of control. And the best part about seeing the Gators on the front end of this weekend is depth is the concern with Maryland, right? They're 5 deep. They don't really have a bench, but the 5 deep is really strong. You're going to be rested going into this game with Florida after they just go back to campus, they relax, and they hear how great they are. Also, I think those players are playing for Willard because he's up for the Villanova job, and they know the further they go, the less likely he leaves. I think there's a scenario here where Maryland gives Florida everything they can handle and potentially upsets them.
Well, he's not leaving. I can break a little news for you. Willard will stay. Our house is in complete disarray, but we will figure it out, and Willard will stay. Number 2, we went from Seattle to San Francisco, so we've been on the West Coast. They've got to fly from Gainesville. I'm assuming they're leaving today. I'm assuming that, but maybe they're leaving tomorrow. They got to fly from Gainesville to San Francisco and get ready for a 4:30 afternoon game on Thursday. That's not easy. Our big guys, Queen and Reese, I mean, I don't know if you watched that UConn game. They're big guys. They're big white guys. Our kids come from Baltimore. We'll see them Thursday night. Our guards, I'm worried about Clayton. We got a kid from Angola. Don't worry. He's going to lock him down. Stelton Miguel. Crab 5, baby.
Go, there goes Hayden. He's fired up about the Terps. Hayden's having fear the turtle.
Look, do I feel good about Maryland in that ticket? No. But I also think the whole tournament stinks. And if we're going to get something out of this, a team like Maryland's going to upset the number 1 seed in Florida.
I mean, no disrespect to Hayden and no disrespect to your futures ticket on Maryland. I'd be shocked if they beat Florida. No. I don't know. They've got 2 bigs.
They have NBA guys. They got NBA guys they can shoot. It's just, I mean, you can make the case that Florida is the most balanced team in this tournament, playing the best basketball when it matters at the right time. Because realistically, if Auburn's the number 1 overall seed, but Auburn's not playing their best basketball down the stretch, so that's why we have concerns. But Florida, they do it on both ends, and I think they made a statement in the SEC tournament. The question is, can they do it again against the Maryland team that is definitely a step up in competition?
If you watched the first half against Colorado State, they were horrible.
No, I didn't feel good about them. Straight up, the fact that they found a way to win that game was a miracle. I mean, they literally scored on a play that should have been called a travel. But I did not feel good about the ticket during that game. In fact, I turned it off and turned it back on with a minute to go to watch the buzzer beater.
Yeah, right? He's got 3 boards now.
Okay.
Josh Hart gets boards in what do you say, in bunches?
But you should go rebounds and assists with him when Brunson's out because he facilitates so much more.
He's got 7 dimes.
Yeah, he's
7:35 to play in the second.
He's become a really good player.
What, Josh Hart?
He was.
I'd say great player.
He's going to be the type of guy that championship teams are begging to trade for late in his career.
I totally agree. I'd say great player.
Impactful.
What's his numbers on the year? 14, 10, and almost 6.
That's pretty good.
14 points, 10 boards, and 6 assists.
You know what? I didn't realize they were that good.
Dude, he's tremendous and just works his ass off.
He
plays more minutes than anybody.
He's a 6'4" guard who averages almost 10 rebounds a game.
Dude, he's a dog. He's the best.
All day. Play for me
every day. Let's say hi to John here on VSiN Live. Hi, John.
Hey, what's up, Pat?
What up? What up, John?
Hey, man. After watching Florida play the other day, why not pick them?
You like Florida?
I watched that game from front to back, and I don't watch a lot of college basketball, but just that game caught my eye for some reason. I think it was because the other team was winning most of the game, and then Florida just kind of put the gas on it there within 8 minutes left, and I said, that's a team that knows how to win in the crunch.
No, you're right. Well, Florida, thanks, Sean. Florida is a team that professional bettors love.
Yes. They are analytical darlings is what they are.
And Texas Tech is also a team that pro bettors love.
Analytical darlings, not to be confused with the website I visited growing up with. The lytics is off the back end of that word in darlings.
So I see Mike and the OC's on hold. So let me bring up the Juju Watkins. So horrible news. The best player in women's college basketball, Juju Watkins, here in Los Angeles, USC, tore up her knee, correct?
Yes, and if you watch the video, it's a really physical play. Like I'm not calling it dirty, but it felt like a lot of contact.
Before I talk about Juju Watkins, I have one question to ask. Is this a safe space?
Can
I
absolutely,
say something?
you can. There is no judgment here. We listen and we don't judge.
Okay, so this is gonna be incumbent upon everybody listening to VSiN Live right now. Understand that I prefaced this all with, "Can I say something?"
No judgment.
And this is a safe space. And Hayden's boy, cancel culture is done.
No.
So what I'm about to say, safe space. I said the other day, we have various options. Many are watching right now. You can go to YouTube at VSiN Live and watch the program. You can listen to SiriusXM, and everything's podcasted. You can download whatever you want. You can jump on Amazon. You can jump on Disney Plus. You can jump on Paramount Plus. You can jump on Netflix. And then you can just go basic cable. But my point is, we have so many options. It's horrific, but great. Do you understand? We're deluged with possibilities.
Okay.
So having said that, I am fascinated by the fact that women's college basketball has genuinely captivated an audience. And a lot of it goes back to last year, Dustin, of course, with Caitlin Clark. But it's carried over. And the Juju Watkins, that led SportsCenter today. So I am going to be very clear. It is very apparent that women's college basketball has captivated an audience and has traction. Okay? Now, I started with, is this a safe space? Mm-hmm. Because I have a question. How do I say this kind? I don't care about women's college basketball even a little bit. And I didn't care about it last year with Caitlin Clark. I don't care about it now. And I'm trying to tell you it's not being chauvinistic. I just only have so much bandwidth.
Yes.
I just explained I have so many options. We're watching so many sports as it is. Why haven't I gotten hooked, Dustin? You tell me why I haven't gotten hooked.
Okay, we've established safe space, so then I have to admit to you, I'm in the same boat, and I watched the Final Four in the women's side of things last year, and I have to tell you, the play of the basketball
tremendous
was spectacular. It was better, I think, if you just love basketball from a purity standpoint, it was beautiful to watch. Like, the skill is off the charts, but I did not start to get into it this year. I didn't keep up with it. I didn't follow it. It didn't hook me. I don't know why it's not hooking me. You mentioned like Netflix and watching other things. I don't know if that's it. I think it's more the bandwidth thing. I think we're older, and if you're older and you've decided to add another sport into what you're watching, your viewing habits, I give you a lot of credit. But I would say the same thing I feel about women's basketball is the same thing I feel about golf and tennis and all this stupid golf thing.
Oh, I like what you did. You brought dudes into the chauvinistic
Yeah. So I had the dishwasher comment on the show a few weeks ago. I got it.
It was dead. That was rough.
It was not good. I heard about that. But like ESPN's beating us over the head with this golf competition with simulators. Like that offends me. This I understand why you get into it. I don't mind watching the highlights. I'll watch the big games that matter at the end because it's my job. But the reality is I am not scheduling my day to watch it. And I don't know why.
I grew up with a big personality mother and two sisters, and I was sandwiched in the middle. All I know is women. I love women. Love. I love the fact that it's captivating audience. I love the fact that it's got traction. It actually warms my. It's tremendous. These girls are so skilled. You mentioned the play is awesome. I just don't care. I can't.
Why is it missing us? But why is it missing us? Because we technically are the people that they're marketing to.
Let me ask you a question. Let me, because you got the media roundup coming, and I know a lot, like Beadle and Decker and Shine, and everybody opened with the Juju Watkins, and it's terrible for the young lady, but they opened with it. We're not going to do the media roundup now. We'll save it. But let me just ask you, are people saying that they care?
No, they care. They care, and they tell you why they care. When we do the media roundup, I think you'll be especially intrigued by one host on Mad Dog Sports Radio. I didn't realize this. Actually had Lindsey Gottlieb, who is the head coach of USC. I learned that this morning. Had her on his show, and he had them going to the Final Four in the preseason. So people are locked in on women's college basketball.
That's great.
For whatever reason, maybe it's just like our brains can't handle it. Our brains can't handle more. Like, we're kind of maxed out at this point. I mean, you have so much history and presidential stuff going on. I don't know where you'd find time to watch another sport.
It's tremendous. We're not being chauvinistic.
It's a great watch. It's a great watch.
It hasn't hooked me. You know, why do you keep on saying it's a great watch if you don't watch it?
Because anytime I've turned it on, it's a great watch. Is it because we don't have a team? Is because, well, you have a team. South Carolina's great. You should care.
Ask me how much I care.
How much
do you care? Don Staley.
I
Props to Don Staley. Shout to the Gamecocks. I can't get into it. I can't. Now, in the next caller, this donk that I'm about to take, he said, somebody called up earlier and said, Mike in the OC said that Juju Watkins is the second biggest star in Los Angeles behind Shohei Ohtani. Now, I'm not going to be disrespectful. Mike's in the OC, and he's lived here his whole entire life. I just got back like 3-4 years ago. I did live here for 6-7 years prior to going to Vegas, so I know Los Angeles a little bit.
Sure.
That is factually incorrect.
I mean, there's two bigger stars on one team.
Two bigger stars on one team is 100% factual. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Mike?
Hey, what an introduction. How are you guys?
Are you trolling?
Not out. Patrick, let me tell you one thing. I gave Beetle and Decker 3 hours of show today. When's Tori sending me a check? This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm literally giving the station content. I told them, by the way, last night I watched the game. I'm going back and forth. We do that Juju thing. She's an LA girl. She went to Sierra Canyon, where Brodie James wins. She's two-time California Player of the Year. Patrick, when someone like this comes along, a la Cheryl Miller, who to me is the greatest female player ever, and Lisa Leslie, she's rejuvenated the USC program. Who I don't like the USC program. I'm a UCLA guy. It's she's got skills. She's got a skill set which could be the greatest player ever to play women's basketball. That's how good she is. Watch her play. She's got just power. She's got grace. She could handle the ball. She could shoot the ball. And let me tell you right now, yeah, she's number 2. Because they fill up Galen Center. People are trying to get into Galen Center to see her, Patrick. And by that, and also incredible young woman. She does a lot of charity work. Her grandfather's involved in the civil rights movement. There's a lot going on here. And the fact that she's an L.A. Rays girl playing for the Trojans, right, being incredible as she is, and this happened last night, it was horrific seeing what happened last night. It was absolutely awful.
I feel for the young lady. But you freaking lost your mind. You've lost your
number
okay,
2.
let me ask you.
Okay, name a number 2. Name me number 2. Don't say LeBron. LeBron is not really an LA guy. No way. Not LeBron.
I mean, are you kidding?
No.
Luka has taken
Patrick,
the city
LeBron's
by freaking Mookie
forever.
Betts.
We don't care anymore. It's fine. He's been here. Luka is just getting started. Juju, it's captivating.
Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl.
I'm telling you right now, she's number 2. Name another. Okay, don't tell me.
Wait, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. James Harden,
zip it.
Go
Let me
ahead,
ask you a question,
ahead.
and I need you to be honest with me.
Go ahead.
Do you care about women's college hoops?
Yeah, UCLA is overall number 1 this year. Are you kidding me? I love my local teams. So if you're overall number 1, like UCLA, who I've been watching since 1970 with Steve Patterson at center after Kareem before Bill Walton, Patrick, you can't check me on this because I've been here forever. There's no one even close to my passion about Los Angeles, Southern California, prep, college, pro sports. Name another person that comes close to me. Name one. Nobody.
Dustin, maybe I'm wrong. Am
Dustin
I missing
can't.
something?
What?
Because Mike is not associating the people that had success somewhere else with LA. Somehow like that LeBron delivering a title to
You
LA
got
is
to
not
be.
enough. Stafford not delivering a title.
It's fine. Look at Jerry West grew up in West Virginia. He's one of the greatest Southern California sports heroes of all time. Sandy Koufax, one of the greatest Southern California sports. Magic Johnson. No, you could grow up elsewhere and be here, but I'm saying right now, Juju is high on that list.
No, you're high. You're high.
You're high. Patrick.
You are high as hell. She's not even top 5, and no offense to her, R.I.P. to her ACL, but
you're
she's not top 5.
absolutely high.
She's not
Have
top 5.
your girlfriend make us some. What are you talking about? Not top 5. Have you seen who showed up to the games? Aiden Daniels, Kevin Hart, all these celebs.
I can name three Dodgers and 2 Lakers who are bigger than her.
No,
I don't know what you're talking
Dodgers
about.
Besides Ohtani. That's why Ohtani's 1. She's 2. Lakers who? Besides LeBron.
Mookie
it's
Betts.
tiring. Kings, Angels, Trout. I don't know. SC. Anybody?
He's driving me crazy.
He's insane.
First off, you can't even talk. You two were just talking over each other. He's never taken a breath in his life.
No.
But I will tell you one thing. When I was having issues with Jeezy, I would have trusted him to go pick her up.
Oh, no. He is a psychopath. But if it came down to it, he would have your back. There's no doubt about it. He's so wrong about this, though, by the way. He's so wrong.
Look, and I'm being completely transparent. It's not Chauvin. I just don't have the bandwidth. I haven't been hooked by women's college hoops. I'm not pretending like I'm right. I'm just saying it doesn't. And so when people are leading with Juju, I think it's horrible for the young lady. It's just I don't know if it resonates. I'm sorry. I don't know how to say it.
But I'm also not going to pretend that I care about it and have like really impassioned take about something that
I shouldn't have to pretend that I care about it because I'm going to be shamed because I'm not anti-women. That's not the point. I shouldn't be shamed. Stop shaming me. I'm a good guy.
No one's a bigger Haley Van Lith fan than me. Nobody.
I don't know. See, that's the point. I don't know who that is.
No, you do. You do.
I see Twizzy and a bunch of people talk. Okay, don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to get our buddy Stuart Durst. We'll ask Stuart if he's into women's college hoops because he bets everything. And so Stuart's going to join us next. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, your home for hoops is SiriusXM NBA Radio, channel 86 at 10 East. The Oklahoma City Thunder go head-to-head with the Sacramento Kings. Catch every moment on NBA Radio, channel 86 in your car or on your SiriusXM app. We do welcome you back here. VSiN Live on YouTube. Hit us up, subscribe, thumbs up for the big guy. Dustin Swedelson in Los Angeles hanging out with Shoddy. Nice to see the big guy in town. I'm Patrick Maher. As we do welcome you back, we're going to welcome in our buddy Stuart Durst, who is one of the best when it comes to props. Sports betting analyst, Pass the Prop podcast at Monotone Football. So we'll get into your plays, but I'm genuinely interested. We were just talking about the horrific Juju Watkins injury, and Dustin and I were saying, like, no chauvinism. I just haven't been hooked by women's college hoops. Like, this story is leading SportsCenter. Everybody on the network today led with the injury. Are you, Stuart, into women's college hoops? Do you bet it?
I do bet it sometimes just because there are, like, if you're an expert at women's college basketball, the amount of competition you have in, like, the betting market versus, like, an NFL expert is so different. Like, if you really know your stuff and you have access to good resources, then you can make a lot of money. So I have been a frequent bettor over the last couple of years, but I don't, like, watch the games. If you sweat them, it can get very, very infuriating sometimes. So I don't mind it.
Stuart, I stand by what you just said. If I place a bet on a player prop specifically, I'm not watching the game. It's too much. It's a roller coaster, and somehow it either cashes or loses by one, and it comes down to the final 2 minutes of the game. So I can't do that for NBA, WNBA, women's college hoops, men. I can't even sweat it out. It's too much with these player props.
Yeah. I mean, I bet so many player props that I feel like you get used to the pain, eventually. I mean, I see where you're coming from, but in some of the like even regular, like even college basketball, March Madness, these are supposed to be the best teams in the country. I'm watching teams go like 2 for 22 from 3. Like, sweating player props for these guys is brutal. I don't know. I've gotten lucky. I had a pretty good March so far. I bet tons of props in round 1. But even some of the wins, like Chase Hunter, the guy from Clemson, he shot like 3 for 15 and barely covered. Like, it was brutal. A lot of guys are shooting tour dates. So college sports props in general can be pretty hard to watch.
Yeah, Stuart Durst joining us. Let's start with your basketball for tonight. The Grizzlies are at the Jazz. You got to give Danny Ainge and that organization credit, because they didn't even pretend from day one that they're tanking this year. So, and you got to find those spots who's sitting. Obviously, we were just talking about Jimmy Butler. Oftentimes when prop betting, you're looking at motivation. We thought Butler going back for the first time to Miami, that he was going to have an all-timer, and hasn't done anything. Let's go here. Colin Sexton, you're going to go over 19.5 points tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the Jazz and Grizzlies is a pretty nice player prop matchup. You got a 240 total. You got two teams that can struggle in the pace department. No John Morant for the Grizzlies, which I do think limits some of the blowout possibility right there, which can normally bother you. And both of my props in this game do correlate. Sexton, when he can just come in and be the shooting guard, he's putting up like 20 shots a game pretty regularly. And obviously, Jordan Clarkson being in the lineup has been someone that he pretty much has the same exact role. They do the same thing. They're both high volume shot takers at the shooting guard position. Jordan Clarkson's been ruled out for this game already. So I think that's going to give us some extra volume, some extra minute security on a team that can kind of mess with the minutes from time to time. But Sexton is honestly doing the same thing like Grimes has been doing for Philly, where he's just upping his value right now as a player. Like, in the future, he's averaging around 19 points per game. They're pretty much giving him an unlimited leash when he's out there to shoot as much as he wants. We have no Lauri Markkanen and no John Collins in the starting lineup. When those two are out, his usage increases even more. Collier at point guard right there. I mean, he's a guy that I like him. I was a big fan out of college as well of the prospect profile, but he's just not an aggressive scorer. It's been pretty much all assists so far from him. So when you don't have a high usage point guard competing with you for shots, I just think Sexton's going to be a guy that takes 20 shots. And the Grizzlies are a team that absolutely bleed transition points. They struggle a lot in that department. And that's what the Jazz are going to do. They're going to get out and run. They're going to push the pace. And since they don't have any defense themselves, they're going to have to respond in the scoring department. So Sexton's a guy I always like to support. 19.5 points is a pretty good price in this matchup.
Real quick, want to pass along this news because it is breaking. Damian Lillard is out indefinitely with a blood clot, it looks like. This just reported by Shams. So he's going to be on blood thinning medication, which will stabilize the blood clot, and he'll continue with regular testing. But he's out indefinite because when you're on those medication, if you get hit, I mean, you bleed out. So that is a scary situation there. So it sounds like no Damian Lillard for Milwaukee for the postseason. But I mean, it's been a pretty rough season for the Bucks there, Stu. You do have one more play when it comes to Utah. You're going to go Collier over 6.5 assists. Talk to me. Why are we doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it correlates a lot with Sexton, who I believe is going to step up in the scoring department. Collier coming off a 17 potential assist game. He's going to lead the team in passes made. He's going to have the ball in his hands in transition. And like I said, if you just watch the guy's tape, he's a pretty unselfish guy. He's not really hunting his own shot super aggressively when he gets in the pick and roll. He's normally looking for the roll man, looking for a three-point shooter, looking for a cutter. He's more of a traditional point guard, which isn't as common in the modern NBA, but especially when you get a game with a 240 total, when you get a team like the Jazz that will go a little bit small ball, they will run in transition, then yeah, that's an absolute smash spot for assists. And I think they've got enough scoring. Walker Kessler is playing. That gives you that big 7-footer in the paint for those easy dunks, those easy lob attempts. There's just a lot of different paths to success here. He's a guy that a lot of people in the betting community have had success with, like the double doubles. And it's funny, he's one of those guys that it's a little bit harder to get the points than assists sometimes. So I like the high volume passing. I think he's surrounded by guys like Sexton, George, Kessler that are gonna give him some easy assist opportunities. And I think that they keep it pretty close, honestly. I think the 11-point spread is a little bit aggressive without John Morant.
Coming up in about 20 minutes, Utah, Sexton over 19.5 points, and Stuart likes Collier over 6.5 dimes. Now, the pride of the DMV is Stuart Durst, so let's transition to Major League Baseball. Essentially underway on, I know they played in Japan, but Thursday's opening day. The Nats overachieved last year. James Wood is obviously firmly entrenched in the lineup now, and you've got James Wood going over 17.5 home runs.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite season-long props. I think it's pretty disrespectful to a guy that I mean, he's had a great spring. It's good to see. I'm not someone that overreacts a lot to spring, but I do think if you're betting early in the season to see kind of how tuned up a guy is, to see if he's coming out the gates firing, that's always something I like to see. James Wood, and honestly, you're going to see in both of my futures, I like kind of peak players, especially younger players on underperforming teams, because that means no matter when we have the highs, when we have the lows, when you have all the problems associated with dealing with a young prospect, we're going to see James Wood in the majors all year long. Like, there is no reason to send this guy to the minors. They have no depth. And any of the younger guys in the minors are like infielders, so it's his job all year long. Maybe they move him around, maybe he gets some different outfield playing, maybe even get some DHing. But James Wood, I mean, the guy's a physical specimen, 6'7". He hits the ball extremely hard. Last year, his one problem was really his fly ball rate. And it was, anyone in the world can tell, it doesn't take a genius. Obviously, the Nationals coaching staff was going to be fully focused, but the guy's hitting the ball at one of the highest rates in the league, and he's hitting it in a straight line. And, in the modern MLB, that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for homers. You're not looking for doubles. And I think if we continue to get those hard hit rates with a full off season of work, we already saw 4 homers in spring training so far. Like, I think he's going to continue to elevate the ball. I think that's going to be the number one priority all year. And pretty much every major projection system out there has him over 20 homers. So I just think it's a little bit too low. I think a 2020 season is pretty easy to project right here. And I just think the volume is going to be so good because whether the Nats are cruising, they're looking like a young, scrappy team, or they're down in the dumps, nothing's going right, he's going to be out there to work out all those problems all year long.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'7". The power's legit. It's just a matter of changing the approach. So I love that number for you, Stu. James Wood's going to be a stud. And there's always this weird thing with young players where we bet on what we saw and we don't, like, the people don't project the potential and the improving for a young player as they get more experience. But you said it about the Nats. They're not going to contend in this division, although they have a lot of young guys coming up that are interesting. It's the Braves, it's the Phillies, it's the Mets. Braves your favorite in the NL East, plus 110. The Phillies, plus 215. Then the Mets, plus 240. If you're going to pick the order, how do you think it ends up going in that NL East?
That's a good question. I don't like the city of Philadelphia on record, but I'm gonna price them number one here. I'm gonna go Braves number two, and then the Mets number three. The Mets have never convinced me that they're gonna be able to buy a team. I don't know if it's gonna be successful this year. Obviously, even more money was spent. We'll see what direction that goes. Still, your opening day starters, Clay Holmes. I mean, that was kind of a shocker. A guy that was just a closer a couple weeks ago. I see people posting strikeout ladders for his first start of the year. I mean, the guy was throwing 20 pitches a game. To get to 7-8 strikeouts, you're going to have to throw a lot more than 20 pitches. So I still think there are a lot of problems with the Mets that they're going to have to iron out over the course of the season. My problem with the Braves, they're obviously a great team, but when you are kind of top heavy, we kind of saw the consequences last year. A couple guys have down seasons, a couple injuries hit you, and suddenly you don't look like that dominant giant as much anymore. So obviously Braves are going to be dominant, but I think injuries could maybe hurt their momentum a little bit more. And it's just hard to get Philly out of there. They got a good scrappy lineup. They got a good mix of kind of older guys that are very solid and then younger guys that are coming up and performing well and improving every single year. So that would be my current order right now. Hopefully the Nationals can sneak in there pretty soon.
Well, you broke the big guy's heart. He's a big Mets fan, but that's reality, big guy. You got
No, but I think he's spot on. The Phillies, I think them trading for Luzardo from Miami is like the most underrated move of the offseason. They have a ton of arms. They're super deep. They're experienced. They're in the playoffs every year. And then you're right about the Braves. Braves are a bit of house of cards, coming off a lot of injuries a year ago. Now you're reliant on Chris Sale, who hadn't thrown like 100 innings in a few seasons, who won Cy Young, Strider off the injury, Lopez, who was a reliever prior. I think the Braves may not be what people think they are, so I think you're spot on, Stu. I love that. Another prop you're going to look at for the season long, this guy just won the center fielder job in St. Louis. Victor Scott, what are we looking at when it comes to his market?
Yeah, I mean, I liked how a lot of underlying metrics in general looked out in his spring. 33 hard hit rate jumped to 35. The launch angle jumped from 12 to 19. Average exit velocity improved, and the whiff percentage went down 4% in spring. This is a guy that struggled a lot at the plate last year, but like you said, just earned the job as the starting center fielder. So when I looked at the betting market, and you look at what the guy's done in the minors over the last couple of years, I think stolen bases is the best way to take advantage of this. I just talked about it with kind of an underperforming team in the Nationals. People don't have high expectations for the Cardinals. They have a lot of young talent, but they've really struggled to develop it recently. And I think Scott is someone that you can kind of put in that category. But man, he was runner up for minor league stolen bases. The minor league trophy for that the other year. He's stolen over 129 bags in his 2 minor league seasons. He's a guy that he can run, and if he can get on base, he can run. So when I saw a lot of the underlying stats improve in spring, and I saw them give him that starting center fielder job, it's a team that you got to develop these guys. You're seeing improvement in a shorter sample size, and you got to run with it. So I'm not saying he's going to be the starter all year long, but I think that initial confidence, I think the volume is going to be enough. And I think at worst, maybe later in the year, if he does have some struggles, maybe a platoon player for a while. But I think the speed is always going to be there. And I think if we can just get on base more, I think we're going to have a lot more opportunities. So it's an interesting one. I'm not a big fan of that team in general, just because you got these guys like Jordan Walker that everyone looked to that thought we're going to be the second coming, and it just hasn't panned out. But I think if you see at least a little improvement from some of these guys, you got to run with it. And I think we're seeing that with him being named a starter here.
Great breakdown. Washington, James Wood over 17.5 bombs. Victor Scott with the Cards, 30-plus stolen bases. Tonight, Colin Sexton over 19.5 points, and Isaiah Collier over 6.5 assists. Stuart, you're the best sports betting analyst, Pass the Prop podcast, and Monotone Football on Twitter. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Stu.
Appreciate it. Let's cash some tickets, guys.
Cash those tickets, Stu. Okay, well, let's do this. Quick break, and when we come back, we'll get back into the Juju Watkins conversation. Kind of reset where we sit as far as that's concerned. I saw Beadle and Decker. You just sent me a tweet that Mike and the OC spurned a conversation that she is the biggest star in Los Angeles. Twizzy's on hold. I respect what Twizzy says. So if he tells me that I'm wrong about Juju, then I'll stand corrected. We're back, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson.
Mad Dog Sports Radio, of course, VSiN Live. You can find us on YouTube at VSiN Live. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. Brandon producing. Ryan Smith, of course, back in Las Vegas running the YouTube stream. We brought up Juju Watkins. And, again, we hate the fact for this young lady who's one of the all-time talents in women's college basketball, to be fair. There was a cute thing with her and JD5. Why am I his Jaden Daniels, and then Jaden Daniels, who has a very protective mom, got in the middle of them and said, "You're not getting to my son." It was funny, but it's terrible what happened with Juju. But the bigger picture here is the big guy and I are just saying, listen, it's not chauvinism. Women's college hoops hasn't captivated me. One thing that is for sure, it has captivated an audience because it's very popular now. The Juju injury is leading SportsCenter. We'll get to the media roundup, but it's all anybody was talking about today on Mad Dog Sports Radio, so maybe I'm missing the bus. Mike and the OC said biggest star in Los Angeles. Another native of Los Angeles is our guy Twizzy, and he joins us. Twizzy set the record straight with Juju.
Man, first, I want to preface this by saying the last thing I did before COVID shut everything down was do a meet and greet with the old Morning Men show with Evs and Babs, right? And I got to meet Mike and the OC. And actually, when the guy breathes in between comments, it changes his whole personality. So his personality is nothing like – it's not so much like what you hear on the radio, right?
Yeah.
But it's hilarious to me that you guys go for him. He's the go-to guy for L.A. when he lives in Orange County. And Orange County couldn't be further from L.A. They're nothing alike. And on top of that, Mike is nothing like an L.A. guy. Decker is from L.A., and I've seen plenty of guys like him. Mike, he isn't like any other guy. He's closer to a guy from Minnesota than he is from L.A. So I find that hilarious.
So OC couldn't be further from Los Angeles. That's a great point by you.
So I mean, I grew up in L.A. on the east side. I was one of those inner city at risk inner city youth. You know, I walked the streets of L.A. I'm L.A. heart through and through, born and bred.
You are.
And as far as the women's basketball, I'm with you guys. You know, the last time I really was into women's basketball, names like Lobo, Catching, and people like that were in charge of basketball, women's basketball back then. And as far as Juju is concerned, right, it's the social media of it all that's really pushing it. It's not so much the basketball portion of it. Social media catches on and, you know, get your algorithm, and it just force feeds you. So I think that's more of it because she is nowhere close to the biggest star in L.A., Otani, Betts, Freeman. I would even go as far as to say Matt Stafford, simply because women's basketball is fifth behind everything else, behind football, it's behind Raiders football even. It's behind L.A. Dodgers. It's behind the Lakers. It's behind the Clippers. It doesn't rate the way that social media pushes it. So right. It's the perception isn't the same as the actual reality, because I'm everywhere in L.A. streets, going all over the place, and I talk to people, and one of the conversations we never have is USC women's basketball.
That's I know. I'm not trying to. We're not being chauvinistic. This is factual, Twiz. It's factual.
It is 100% factual, and you know, like I said, I've watched plenty of women's basketball. It just hasn't been in this recent past. It was much more in the past. And I mean, you go around LA, you're not going to see a whole lot of murals and billboards and stuff for Juju Watkins the way you see it for Luka Doncic, who's only been here for a couple of weeks now.
That's the thanks, Twizzy. And Twizzy's born and raised in Los Angeles. I'm telling you, there are murals of Luka already. Now, Kobe is forever the GOAT of Los Angeles sports. Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Kobe Bean Bryant. But Luka's already got murals. But Stop it.
No, this is the hole in Mike's argument. It's not about what they've done in the city. It's who's the biggest star. I'm sorry she's not in the conversation. And I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the elephant in the room. I mean, I'm usually the elephant in most rooms, but I am losing weight. I would just point out here, Patrick, there is an element of the people who are claiming their love for women's basketball because they're trying to control a narrative of how they're perceived. Is that fair?
Correct. They're trying to be PC.
They don't actually care. It's they care what people think about them.
Yeah, that's
and they
exactly
know
right.
they know if they say they care about it, it makes them look better in their critics' eyes. And we're not saying we hate it. We're wondering why it hasn't hooked us when we're supposed to be the audience it hooks.
Work in the sports industry, it hasn't hooked me, and I'm not going to apologize for it. That's just like, because I don't have to. I don't feel insecure like I'm putting down women. That's not the point.
It has nothing. Nowhere. I've watched 2 women's college basketball games. I thought they were great contests of sport. Just didn't want to go back for
about
more.
Juju and women's college hoops. Don't go anywhere. 888-623-3646. We got Wilson to the Giants, Diggs to the Patriots, smash or pass. Dustin's got his AL West breakdown. We've got plenty to do in the next hour here. VSiN Live. It's Mad Dog Sports Radio.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, you should be starting your morning with the VSiN newsletter. It's absolutely free. So if you're new to VSiN, you can sign up for our free daily newsletter. It's a great way to catch. It's basically the table setter for sports for the day, sports betting for the day, delivered straight to your inbox. It's there before you wake up. Bill is grinding. The VSiN's newsletter offers some free picks, data, strategies for the day's betting menu. Sign up for free right now at VSiN.com/newsletter and start receiving your free newsletter tomorrow morning. It's that quick. Stay ahead of the game and bet smarter with VSiN. Dustin Swedelson, I'm Patrick Maher. Of course, we've got our buddy Ryan Smith on YouTube at VSiN Live. Get over there. Hit us with a subscription. You can see Dustin's hair is looking great today. You like to see it.
It's from the front.
From our buddy Brandon back in New York City doing a great job as well. I just saw somebody say on social media that it's great for the Patriots. Stephon Diggs signed a 3-year deal with the Patriots, and the person said it's great for the Patriots because now Drake May has a wide receiver 1. Stephon Diggs is very much not a wide receiver 1. Let's be very clear about that. He's going to be 32 in November.
Yeah, he's been around the block at this point. I don't know if you're buying you're buying something where the price tag isn't matching what the product actually is at this point. He's deteriorated. He's not the same player. He's also coming off a massive injury where he tore his ACL in week 8 of the regular season.
Correct.
Are we sure he's going to be ready for the start? When is he going to be ready? And then on top of that, if he is the number one, we're establishing he's the number one. You have a second-year quarterback learning his first year of a new system with a new head coach, a new offensive coordinator. And he's going to have a demanding number one receiver that's going to be asking for the football, getting in his head and messing with him. I'm not sure what's going to happen off the field is worth what's going to happen on the field with Diggs at this point in his career.
Yeah,
I can put up with it. If he's a beast, I can put up with it. He's not a beast anymore.
I hate the signing from the Patriots' perspective for every reason you said. And then Russell Wilson to the Giants. We'll get into that more. But I do have some calls on Juju Watkins and women's college hoops, and so I appreciate your patience. We'll come back to you right now. Look, the big picture is I've got too many options. Women's college hoops hasn't hooked me. It has nothing to do with being chauvinistic. I assure you of that. But it has captivated, and it has hooked a lot of people. Beadle and Decker were leading with it today. Shine was leading with it today. And the Juju Watkins injury it sucks. It led SportsCenter when I woke up. I might be missing the boat.
Okay, one last thing. Would it have led everything today if there was a big NBA game last night or one of the NCAA tournament games was last night? I think that's the point.
I don't know how to answer that because of what you said. You said.
Yes. Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
Because people want to be perceived a certain way, and they don't want people to hate on them because they say they're not into it. I'm not saying I hate it. I just say I can't figure out why I don't like it.
And networks and broadcasters want to be perceived a certain way as well. We're just trying to be honest.
Absolutely.
We're just trying to be honest.
I want to be. Believe me, it benefits my career.
Yeah, it does. Let's go to Connecticut. Duncan's been hanging for a while, holding. Appreciate you, Duncan. How you doing?
It's okay, guys. So a couple of things, and if I can get out the women's, and then after I kind of have a question about the Jason Tatum ankle injury for you guys.
Of course,
as well.
take your time. You got all the time in the world. Go for it.
Word, guys. So this is actually coming from the perspective of someone who is a fan of the women's game, and it kind of helps when you have a team like the UConn women, right? If you're going to get on a bandwagon in the early 2000s, you pick UConn, right? Because, they win. It's easy to root for a winner. But when I was little, there was a charity event in, Danbury, Connecticut, and the Harlem Globetrotters came to town to play the Danbury Police Department, and I loved the game. I fell in love with basketball. I immediately, when I was 5, 6 years old, I fell in love with the game, right? And I wanted to play in the worst way, so my dad says, if you're going to learn how to play, you're not going to watch the Harlem Globetrotters because they're like a trick shot show. He's like, you're going to learn how to play correctly. And he wouldn't take me to a Celtics game because they kind of stunk in the early 2000s, late 90s. They weren't all that good. So he took me to the UConn women's. And since then, I haven't really had the time to follow them, but I always kind of pulled for them as well. And even when I went to high school and I grew up a little bit, I wanted to become a coach. And so one of the best coaches in the history of the state of Connecticut taught at gym. He was a PE teacher at my school. So I job shadowed him as a gym teacher, and he was a great coach for basketball, soccer, lacrosse. And so I just job shadowed him when I was a junior, and everyone loved, women's basketball loved the UConn Huskies. So it's easy to root for a winner. So I just and my whole family, my mom eventually remarried. This dude was pulling for the UConn before Gino Auriemma got there. Alma Mater,
Wow.
it's incredible. So I happen to be the rare case of somebody who has a justifiable story as to my brother, they loved the Huskies. We could break it down all live long day. But if I lived in Texas or Mississippi or South Carolina, different story. I'm probably not as big of a fan as I am. So, but I went to I'm a season ticket holder. I went to go see Juju in Hartford take on Paige. I loved the game. It really was. It was unfortunate ending. We lost that game, but I wanted to see the matchup, right, the rematch, right? And I was so happy that we got them in the regional, right, that it was going to be an Elite Eight matchup for, and Paige was going to have her redemption shot at Juju, her swan song before she goes off to the WNBA, and Juju goes down. So, the path for us got easier, but I was still so upset that not only Juju went down, but the path for us, I still kind of wanted, because Paige, she's a fighter. Paige is great. She's fun to watch. Like, the way she plays the game, she wants to beat you when you're at your best. And no one feels worse for Juju than Paige. I guarantee you that. She wanted that in the worst possible way, right?
Yeah.
So I feel for Juju, and I hope USC can beat Kansas State because the team is good enough to compete. So hopefully they could see that, but it still sucks.
That was a great layout. That was a great layout. What did you want to say about Tatum?
Well, two things, right? I know you guys are big on it's a betting show, right? And Baylor Shireman, right, is a dude who's now getting meaningful minutes. And if you look at the games that he's played, now he's getting like more than 15 minutes a game. He's going to be a guy that's going to start becoming a role player for us. So take the over on him because he can shoot. I watched him play at Creighton because he made me lose my mind as a UConn fan, right? So take some overs on Baylor Shireman. I'm not a gambler, but I would look at him. But regarding the Sabonis injury that happened with Tatum, how he landed, I was interested on your thoughts, as I didn't think that it was dirty. But everybody in the Celtics crowd that I see, they hate Sabonis. They want him gone in the worst way. I thought that was a very routine play. And maybe I grew up in a different, era of basketball, right, where there was – or maybe I played the game differently when I was growing up. I didn't think that was egregious. I didn't think that it was intentional. I thought it was completely incidental. He lands in the landing zone of Tatum, but he ducks his shoulder in the replay. He looked back because he didn't want to hit him in the feet. He didn't want to take him out. It's a rare case of a star injuring another star, but it's not egregious. And I just think that Sabonis is just getting ripped for all the wrong reasons.
That's a great call because he also got a little tip in there about some backups there with the Celtics. You love to see it for Dustin and the props. So if you missed it, and good job, Duncan, appreciate it. Good layout of, it sounds like UConn women's hoops up in that area is like a way of life. Sabonis was issued a flagrant foul 1 on a review because he didn't give Tatum a place to land as he was coming down from his jump shot. I got to be honest, I saw it. I think it's ridiculous. I'm right there with Duncan. The fact that he was hit with a flagrant is ridiculous.
He's like 7 feet tall. It's a little hard to move that body and get completely out of the way if you're going to contest the shot. I don't love the whole, you got to give him, I know there are dirty ways to get in the way of someone landing. Thought that was very clear. Not a play where there's malicious intent from Sabonis to try and mess up Tatum's landing spot. That's kind of ridiculous. Especially when you look at it. And Duncan's right. He leans out of the way. He just can't get his legs out of the way. And how's he supposed to know exactly where Tatum's going to land? I think it's stupid. It's all a stupid rule. There's nothing dirty about that play.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. On the thoughts about women's college hoops, I think this would be a good time to transition to the media roundup because I genuinely find myself compelled to hear how this was handled. So have at it, big guy.
So I'm just going to take you through my routine. This is what I check in with when I wake up around 6-something in the morning. And I first pop on ESPN because I have my habits put on TV and First Take. And I'll be honest, I just tuned in for a few minutes and saw their lead was the Juju injury, and I turned it off because I said, all right, that's weird that they open with that. Surely no one else is leading with that on March 25th. I feel like there's things happening. Cam Ward at his pro day. There's Shedeur Sanders news. Let me check in with our guy Adam Shine. I got to tell you, I did not anticipate Adam Shine being this locked in on women's college hoops. Now, he does love sports. I mean, it's his catchphrase.
Oh, yeah.
You got to love sports. And he does. And I kind of wish I love sports as much as he does because he knows a lot about them. So some notes I took from Shine. Shine, he said, we all know how much I love Juju. So he wanted to establish that.
We do?
Everyone remembers he had Lindsey Gottlieb, that's the USC head coach, on the show last year. He picked them to win it all this season. And She's great on and off the court, so he keeps up with what she's doing, and had a comparison where she's a lot like Reggie Bush, where she transcends the sport, transcends the school, and represents the school. Shine loves Juju Watkins, and he was devastated that she's out for the year. Just devastated.
Okay, I cracked the code. Shine has a daughter.
Yes.
If I had a daughter, I can see myself very much being into women's college hoops because that's maybe something I would do to bond with a daughter.
I actually agree with that. I think that's pretty spot. I think if you have kids in general, you can find random things to bond over. Where you have a dog and I have my girlfriend, but not really. I'm by myself tonight, so I got nothing. So to get me to turn on an additional sport that's not already like in my brain right now, it just takes a lot of energy.
So Shine was way into it.
Oh, he was devastated. I believe he used the word "I'm devastated" over this injury.
He's dialed in.
Yeah, no, he was heartbroken.
He was affected.
Okay. So Beadle and Decker were up next. Now, Michelle had connection issues, so it was Cody by himself. But he was bummed because he said he was excited to see Juju not just in this tournament, but he was excited about what Juju could be in the WNBA. Thought she was a superstar. He actually thought she'd be a better pro than Caitlin Clark. And then he came at Bill Plaschke because I guess Plaschke said in his column today that this changes the landscape of LA sports, her getting injured. So that was Cody's take, was just that, like, it was more about her pro prospects and how this hinders that going forward.
My man is breaking down Juju's transition to the WNBA. I must be lost.
Okay. Well, then next up, Patrick, in our media roundup, is Christopher Mad Dog Russo. What do you think Chris Russo opened the show with today?
The Doors?
It wasn't Juju. I can tell you that. I think we all could have seen that coming.
He opened with the Rolling Stones?
He hits you with a little potpourri on MLB, where the ultimate take was, and it took a while to get, he was bouncing around with the Dodgers and other stuff, but basically, the Dodgers are going to treat the regular season like the NBA elite teams treat the NBA regular season. You use depth to get through it, and you don't really care about your win total in the end. Doesn't think they challenge the 116 record by the Mariners and Cubs, and he thinks they just want to get in, have a top seed, and cruise once the postseason as a healthy ball club. That was Dog's take to start the day. Had nothing to do with Juju, and he was talking about the best star in LA, not Juju. He was talking about Shohei Ohtani.
I wonder if he did actually end up going into Juju because I don't know if that carries over until tomorrow, but he's Wednesday first take. I'll be interested if he has a take on it.
Oh, man, imagine they go, Dog, you got to either do Juju or Bronny James dropping 39 in the G League. It's up to you.
What did Torrey do?
Well, look, we joke that it's January, February Izzo. I think you make a case it's January, February Torrey also.
He loves college
hoops. He's not letting college hoops go, and I respect it. He was all over the men's. His big topic was, and he did a good job. He had a couple guests on, assistant coaches at Division I programs, and he's not wrong. But the transfer portal opening when teams are in the Sweet 16 and traveling, it's a pretty wild move by the NCAA when you have, I don't know, months until next season starts.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's certainly weird. Now, you didn't mention Michelle, who did eventually join the program, and then they got the call from Mike and the OC, and then they turned that into the conversation, is Juju the biggest star in L.A.? What was the findings? Like, what did they decide?
Oh, let's pull up that poll at Mad Dog Radio, because I believe it is all done. You can no longer be a part of it and vote. So I'm looking at it right now, and Shohei Ohtani overwhelmingly won the poll with 76% of the votes. In second place was LeBron James at 17%. Juju Watkins in third at 4%. Other received 3%.
See, now that's my point. I think it's disrespectful to Juju to pose the question.
Yeah, it's
because it's going to be. It's obvious that it's Shohei and LeBron and Luka and Mookie Betts and on and on and on. So it's like it's disrespectful to her to even have that.
they all walk down the street. Who's getting recognized? That's how you figure it out.
Anyway. It's an interesting conversation, and you feel horrible for the young lady. That's the bottom line. We are the bigger picture as far as we're concerned. We just haven't been hooked yet. It sounds like the most passionate one was Shine.
No. Shine was heartbroken. Shine loves USC women's basketball, but again. I'm just not on that level anymore of loving sports that much. I love sports when my bets cash, and when my bets don't cash, I hate sports.
Speaking of which, so Josh Hart is a fascinating basketball player. So it's the end of 3, and the Knicks are up 98-84 over Dallas, and obviously no Jalen Brunson right now. I told you Hart had 1 board after 1 quarter. He now has 12 after 3. Josh Hart's line right now, 16 points, 12 boards, 11 assists,
triple-double.
And he's still got a quarter to go. He could have 20, 17, and 17.
Dude,
he could have 20, 15, and 15.
When Brunson's
he's having
out,
a night.
He's cashed a lot of triple-doubles. I'm trying to see how many he's had this year. 1, I'm going to count them, 2, 3. He's had 3 in the last month.
Dude, he is...
Wait, maybe not. No, wait, I counted that wrong. 2 in the last month.
He's a 6'2" guard playing forward. Don't get caught up on it. Just that's so inconsequential. It's so inconsequential. He is what, 6'2", playing
6'4".
Yeah, but probably 6'4"-ish.
Yeah, they lie.
But playing legitimately a forward position and doing just as well as other he's a crazy basketball player.
While essentially running the point while Brunson's out. And then attacking the boards on the defensive side of things. And also every now and then D'ing up another team's power forward. No. He is a Swiss Army knife. And also he can shoot. Like he gets hot from beyond the arc. Like he's a player that wins on the edges when it comes to like NBA rosters. Like it may not show up every night, but the effort, the defense, the rebounding, like he helps you win on the margins.
Yeah, on the margins, 100%. By the way, the Cavs have been struggling. They're at the Blazers. Cleveland's laying 6.5. They've got to be without somebody. Although Portland is a good team at home. You know, Portland's having a sneaky good year.
Well, and they're covering. They're like top 5 in the league in cover rate. So, and that's usually what happens in the NBA. These underdogs are usually catching a big fat number. They're young players for the most part, playing hard against a team that's not going to take them seriously. So Portland's been a really good cover team this year, but no Donovan Mitchell tonight for Cleveland. They just want to get him right for the playoffs. That whole team just needs to get right for the playoffs. Like, get this out of your system, and then new season starts once the postseason's here. By the way, the postseason's here in like a few weeks.
Well, yeah, we're 70? We got 10 games to go for most teams.
Yeah, 9-10 games, depending who you look at. So last game of the regular season's April 13th.
And by the way, if you thought that people like Donovan Mitchell and teams were going to – the Tatum injury last night is going to shut down a lot of stars.
Oh, no, you cannot risk it now. If you're set in the playoffs and you're mostly set in your seeding, and for Boston it's different because they're super deep, but other teams – it's worth going into the postseason at 100% than losing one of your, top 2 or 3 scorers on your roster. You can't overcome that. And all of a sudden you get wiped out early in the playoffs and another team advances. Your whole season's a giant failure.
We should give the Family Bets Discord, we should give our buddy Stuart Durst a little pump over there because 6 minutes into the game, Memphis and Utah, Sexton already has 7 points.
Dude,
6 minutes into
that's going to be a first half cash.
And 6 minutes into the first, Collier already has 2 dimes. So he should be good with those 2 plays. Okay, 888 Mad Dog 6, 888-623-3646. So if you missed it to start the program, right before we started the show here, VSiN Live here on Mad Dog Sports Radio, Russell Wilson was signed by the New York Giants to a 1-year deal. I mean, it's obviously a Band-Aid. It's hilarious, and the jokes will be made because of that quarterback room, which now consists of Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito. That is a sitcom. And then you can give your comment, but quickly, let me say this. Stephon Diggs to the Patriots for 3 years. He's going to be 32 in November. The Wilson thing's funny to me if I were a Patriot fan, I'd be angry about the Diggs signing. That is a ridiculously odd signing by the Patriots.
Yeah, but I just don't think people have caught on to the fact that Stephon Diggs is just kind of annoying and not the player that he once was either, and also coming off an injury. Like, everyone remembers the guy from like 2, 3, even going back to Minnesota like years ago. But he's just not that person anymore. He's got a lot of wear and tear. He's coming off an ACL, and he complained his way out of a situation in Buffalo where they were competing for Super Bowls. Like, he abandoned an elite quarterback to go anywhere else, ended up in Houston, and was okay, but got hurt, middle of the season. On the Russell Wilson thing, the more I think about it, if you're Joe Schoen and you're Brian Daboll, your job is on the line. All that's left out there is Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers isn't choosing you. But by choosing Russell Wilson, did you guarantee you get fired? Could there have been another solution out there for that group, for that GM and head coach, where they could have drafted someone in the first, second, third round and claimed that they saw first-round potential? Is there another way they could have saved their job? Because by signing Russell Wilson, I think they've permanently made a decision on this season that it's done. Their reign is over of running the New York Giants.
Call me crazy, but the Winston signing, Winston is terrible. Jameis Winston throws picks on every other throw. The Winston signing's one thing. But let me ask you, why didn't they just start DeVito?
This year?
Yeah.
Because, look, the defense was competitive a year ago. They were in a lot of low-scoring, close games, and the offense could do nothing. You can't run it back with Tommy DeVito if your job's on the line. Now, if ownership said, look, you guys made the playoffs 2 years ago. Obviously, since then, things have not gone to plan. We will give you the leeway. Let's set things up right. Show you're competitive. You don't have to win. You don't have to make the playoffs, but show the team is learning the system. Sure, you can start Tommy DeVito and do this the right way, but I just don't think organizations look at it like that. They're going, all right, last chance. Figure it out, or we're going to get someone else in who will.
All right. Well, Daboll and Shane are going to be gone after this year. You're going to get your wish. Let's open up the phones at VSiN Live. Of course, 888-MAD-DOG-6, 888-623-3646. Say hi here in Los Angeles to our buddy Matt. Hi, Matt.
Hey, fellas. How you doing?
What's going on, Matt? Good to hear from you.
Hey, Dustin, I never thought when you guys left a few years ago that the Giants could completely bottom out worse than they were with Gettleman, but Jesus. I mean, things have gone way, way south. I don't know how you could have brought these guys back on a show-me year with the roster they had, and now it's just becoming more of a bigger clown show. First it's Jameis, now it's Russ. The only thing this tells me is that they really are the only delusional ones that think that they're just like Joe Schoen. We're close. We're just a quarterback away, but they're not. So they're going to take the best available player at 3 probably, and then maybe try to trade back in, or in the second round take Jalen Milroe and try to develop him. But, man, I don't even know what to say about the Giants. They've literally gone from, a top organization to the literal laughingstock of the league.
Matt, great to hear from you again. We haven't heard from Matt in a while. I put this on the Mara family. I put this on Mara.
I agree.
Why, when you're rebuilding, why not literally wipe out the general manager and head coach and start over the proper way? What are they doing?
No, if they're on a prove-it one-year deal and the only options out there are a bunch of old quarterbacks on their last legs that are not the players they used to be, I'm sorry. You have to make that decision then. It's not fair to them, but in the name of your organization, right, to do right by your product, by your business that you own, you wipe them out, you start over, you let someone build their foundation this year. The team's bad. The roster stinks. So this should be a year about growth and about building for the future. You can't do that when 2 guys are making decisions not in the best interest of the New York Giants, but in the best interest of their future to keep their jobs. Because once you get fired from this, Joe Schoen will never be a GM in the NFL again. Brian Daboll very likely will never be a head coach in the NFL again.
No, he won't.
So it is their last possible grasp to live out their dream of being in these roles.
Yeah, they're trying to save their ass. It's very apparent. It's common sense. So anyway, that 888-623-3646. We do have opening day coming up on Thursday as far as Major League Baseball is concerned. So we're running every division here on VSiN Live with the core 4 bets. And the AL West, big guy, is coming up. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson. Now back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Lady Gaga invites you into her world with Gaga Radio as she unveils her latest album, Mayhem. Experience some music and stories behind the song straight from Lady Gaga herself, plus hear hand-picked favorites from across pop, rock, dance, soul, funk, and R&B. Listen, big guy, on Channel 15 for a limited time or on the SiriusXM app. And for those keeping score at home, you know, Jacob, the super, he's a treat. One of our producers back in New York City. He's the one that I'm as white as the freshly driven snow. I'm going to the strip club. I make it rain like crazy. Well, he just got dumped by a chick he met on an app, but he just popped in during the break to let us know he's back in the game. J-Date has delivered again. And I know the big guy was not a J-Date guy, but he was a J-Swipe guy. I don't know the difference.
J-Date you had to pay for. It was a profile. It was online. Like, it was like a Match.com, but for Jews. I just didn't yield the results I liked. J-Swipe was a lot easier. It was just an app on the phone. You didn't have to pay for anything. So maybe I'm proving the stereotype true that I liked it because it was free. I don't know.
There might be something to that. But it does your attitude a little bit, even when Jacob's talking. Now, I'm more of a Jacob guy than you are, if we're being honest. You generally shut down when Jacob pops on. I love the guy. I just get into it.
He reminds me of young me. That's the issue, and I don't mean it in a good
little
way.
Overzealous.
Yeah, Jacob. I mean it in a not good way. It's not a compliment because I am not a perfect person by any means. I think we would all that has been well established on this show for years, going back to the rap. But it did take a lot of work to break some of the chains that Jacob's currently under, like the wanting to have a roster and date multiple women. Not because it's something you actually enjoy. No one really enjoys that. But there's a game being played there. And I think if you search in your soul, you'll figure out why you're doing that.
Yeah, but you do have a kind of vibe now that you have a wonderful girlfriend. You're committed relationship. You definitely look down upon people that aren't on your level now, relationship-wise.
Well, no, I am not a big plant a lot of seeds at once guy. And here's why. Because anytime I've done that, you whittle it down to like one or two options, and in the past, I always chose the wrong one. And you let a good person go because of that, and then you regret it, and there's no turning back.
I'm a big believer about those chicks in the past weren't for you. You weren't turning down the. You found the right one.
But that has nothing to do with now. At the time, I would always choose the worst of the two. That's my point. The one that was less of a match. I'm not a big numbers game when it comes to the dating thing. You do one, you either like her or you don't. If you like her, you go out with her again. If you don't, you move on to the next one.
Well, who knew you had thought about it so much and had a philosophy?
I just know what hasn't worked for me, and Jacob as a kid from New York who's really loud and obnoxious, I'm just letting you know, you might want to rethink the strategy. That's all. I lived your life. I lived it.
So you're couching Jacob's loudness and obnoxiousness by saying you used to be loud and obnoxious as well.
No, I'm just less loud and less obnoxious. They'll never go away. It's never going away.
Whenever I hear that goofy voice, I don't know why, because at first I was really annoyed by him. But now when I hear the goofy voice, I perk up a little bit. I like to hear from the weirdo.
He's got a cartoon character essence about him. I don't know what kind of cartoon, like what channel it airs on, but he's got a cartoon quality where like a day in the life of Jacob might be really fascinating.
I know it would be. Now let's get to the AL West with the core four bets, hitting every division before Thursday, hopefully, because people are fired up about baseball. Nah, I'm playing, but you can still bet it. So let's start with the AL West here, big guy.
So the favorites in the West are your Houston Astros. Win total is 87.5. Their division price is plus 125. Rangers second in the market, plus 225, 85.5 win total. Followed by the Mariners right on the edge, plus 250, 84.5. So that is one less than the Rangers in front of them. And then bringing up the bottom, you have two of the worst teams in baseball. The Angels, 30-1, Athletics 30-1, both priced at 71.5 when it comes to their win total.
Man, the Angels have gone in a bad way. Like, they were competitive with Socha for a while, but they have made horrific decision after horrific decision and just wasting your boy Trout, who, by the way, didn't he moved position?
He's playing right field this year, but you think maybe when you knew Ohtani wasn't going to re-sign with you, I don't know, maybe trade him to get prospects back to rebuild
they were
your organization?
Grasping. They were taking your approach to online dating. They only had one apple of their what you know what I'm saying?
Apple of their eye. You got it. You got it.
Apple of their eye. And it was Shohei Ohtani. All right, where are you starting with the breakdown?
Let's go at the bottom, the Athletics, because they're a super trendy team because they made a couple of mediocre moves. So the Athletics, as I mentioned, win total 71.5. They're 30-1 to win this division. They're 100-1 in the AL, 250-1 to win the World Series. Here's the problem. Everyone's hyping up that they spent money on Luis Severino and Jeffrey Springs to come in and lead their rotation. That's awesome. But Luis Severino's a guy who's hurt all the time. 182 innings pitched last year was his most since 2018. Jeffrey Springs is a guy who used to be a reliever, then became a starter. 33 innings pitched last year. He's only cleared 100 innings pitched one time in his career. You're not going to rely on those guys, especially when you're moving to a minor league ballpark in Sacramento. Their offseason also consisted of adding a guy in Gio Urshela to play in the infield and Jose Leclerc in the bullpen. This is not a team that's going to be ultra competitive because of their pitching. I'm sorry. I think they're going to get beat up with contact guys in the middle of the back end of the rotation this season, playing in a bandbox in AAA. You also lose that foul ground at Oakland Coliseum where so many balls that would have been in the stands at other stadiums ended up being outs for the A's when they were playing there. I think everything from a pitching perspective, everything with the A's, huge regression candidates. I know they were pesky last year. They were feisty. And Brent Rooker hit 39 homers. Lawrence Butler almost went 20-20. They have some interesting bats. But I think this team playing in that minor league ballpark is going to do them in. They should not be a team you're thinking about betting over on.
Yeah, the A's are going to be garbage. Playing in that little rink-a-dink stadium in, Sacramento? What an embarrassment for the league. I'm guessing the Angels are up next?
Yeah. By the way, first time a team's moved since the Expos going to Washington, I believe. Like, that's a long time ago for that to happen in baseball. For a while, it felt like we were having every few years someone would move. But the Angels are your next team. The Angels oddly spent money this offseason, Patrick. So I'm not sure why. Maybe they got bored. But I do that with Amazon all the time. I don't know why I'm buying it, but it shows up the next day and it makes me feel good. I guess we'll find out at the end of the year if they feel good about Yusei Kikuchi, Jorge Soler, Kenley Jansen, Travis d'Arnaud, Kyle Hendricks, Yohan Moncada, Tim Anderson, and Kevin Newman. You know what all those moves scream to me? Our team's going to stink. But if other teams need to fill holes in their roster to make the playoffs, I can trade off all of these pieces I just signed, not actually have to spend their full contract on them, and get prospects back to rebuild my organization.
Dude,
That's what every one of those moves sounds like.
A lot of pieces.
A lot of mediocre pieces. A lot of guys who were either hyped up or had one or two good years. I should also mention they lost Patrick Sandoval from the rotation. They lost Griffin Canning from the rotation. They lost backup catcher Matt Tyson, outfielder Kevin Pillar, who had a really good year in a reserve role last year. The lineup's actually not horrible. When you look at the pieces, Taylor Ward, Trout, Soler, like there's some okay guys. Rotation's kind of meh. The problem
Always
is if Mike Trout doesn't stay healthy, none of this matters. Like, there's no interesting games for them. There's no reason to go to that ballpark. He's played 36, 119, 82, and 29 games the last 4 years. So over 101 times. So there's not much to really like about the Angels. The rotation, I think, is better names than it is production. They're going to be really bad.
Moncada, whatever happened, he was supposed to be a freaking stud.
He was, I believe, the key piece of the Chris Sale trade with Boston and Chicago.
Yeah, maybe that was, but he was supposed to be a monster. Didn't work out. Who's next?
So this is the team I have coming in third place, and I don't know if I'm going out on a limb here, but I think based on what they've added and lost over the last few seasons, the Houston Astros aren't the team that we all think they are. They lost Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Kikuchi, Verlander, Presley in the bullpen, Urquidy, Kendall Graveman. Also, remember, a couple years ago, they lost Carlos Correa as well. So that core that was going to the World Series, that was going to the playoffs every year, it's pretty much gone. Now, they made a couple interesting moves. They don't like to give out big long-term contracts, so they added Christian Walker. They added Isaac Paredes, two guys that I think benefit from playing with that short porch in left field down in Houston. But this is a team that's getting worse pretty consistently across the board. They just keep losing key guys that have made them a modern dynasty in baseball with the multiple World Series. Lineup's good, not great. I think the rotation could be fine. Framber Valdez needs to bounce back. He's in a contract year. Hunter Brown really figured it out last year, but which version do we get? I'm not sure Ronel Blanco is for real. Arrighetti's got a live arm, but he's got to cut down on the walks. They have a bunch of guys hurt that they should get back. I don't think the Astros are as good as the other two teams in this division.
Altuve still leading off.
He's playing left field.
The names you mentioned that they lost, a lot of big-ass names.
They don't want to give out 6-year deals. And by the way, Altuve's playing left field, and the 2 highlights I've seen of him trying to do that, it's not going well.
He's got to be close. He's, what, 38?
5'4"? 5'4"? 5'4"? You might be right.
36?
37. 37 feels right for Jose
38.
Altuve.
Yeah. 36, 37,
Let's
38,
see.
somewhere in there.
He's 34. We're both wrong.
He's much younger than I thought. He's been around for a long-ass time. Yeah. Been a great player. All right, who's next?
Second place in this division, I love the Seattle Mariners, and they have no offense. So you better have amazing pitching if you're going to love a team that has no offense. But this Seattle rotation's elite. Now, George Kirby's going to start the year on the IL, but it seems like no structural damage. They believe he's going to be back. He's going to be fine. He is a legit, true number one. Tons of control, doesn't walk guys, doesn't put himself in bad situations. Logan Gilbert is an ace. Luis Castillo is an ace. Bryce Miller may have the best stuff of the group, capable of also being an ace. And then they have a few other young guys in Wu and Hancock that fill out the rotation. But this is a team, the issue with them and not picking them to win the division is they were 29th in batting average, 22nd in OPS a year ago, and they really didn't do anything to change that. They added Donovan Solano and Jorge Polanco. Light-hitting infielders that have a lot of versatility and not a lot of pop. Now, I will say today, they signed Cal Raleigh to an extension. That's the big thumper behind the plate. He's got a lot of pop, doesn't hit for an average. I don't really love having to rely on a catcher with the wear and tear on the season to be like my premier power guy, but unfortunately, that's where the Mariners are. I think it's really sad that they didn't add any bats. I think they should have been in the market for a lot of power guys, and if they did, they would be one of the favorites in the American League with the pitching that they have.
But that rotation, rotation, that's got to be the best rotation in baseball.
No, it's the best rotation in baseball. Instead, they're going to compete. They're probably going to be a wild card team. And in the playoffs, I do think they're a team built better for the playoffs than they are for the regular season.
That is an insane rotation. But my man out in center had a terrible year last year.
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez, I believe, still went 20-20. He's a 40-40 capable guy. He's still super young.
Yeah, I said terrible because what was expected.
Yeah, no, he had like 270, but you're right. He was a superstar the year before. The problem is it's really hard for a young player when they're the one guy in the lineup that every pitching staff is focusing on and you don't have protection. It's really hard to improve. It's really hard to build when
Fair.
like you're the only guy teams are focusing on making sure this guy doesn't beat us today.
And you've got the Rangers next.
The Rangers had a stupid offseason. Like there was a hangover with the World Series. There was a lot of injuries last year. They missed a lot of key pieces. Not only do they get these guys back, they re-signed Nate Eovaldi, who's become a super clutch pitcher. They had Jock Peterson, Jake Berger, Kyle Higashioka, Chris Martin, just a million relievers in the free agent market to figure that out. They lost some guys, but no one that's really going to impact them. I think this is by far the best lineup in the West. The rotation has a lot of upside because I like what they're doing. They have some injuries to guys like John Gray, so they're letting Jack Leiter, kid out of Vanderbilt, he's going to step up. He's going to be in the rotation. His partner at Vanderbilt, Kumar Rocker, also going to be in the rotation. DeGrom comes back, but you're not expecting DeGrom to be your ace. He's probably more of your 3 or your 4 here. So I really like what they're doing here with Texas. They're going to have to mash people to death. I would like to see them find a way to add one more arm as insurance. But in terms of scoring runs, they're going to be hard to compete with in the West. So I love the Texas Rangers at plus 225 to be the team that ends up winning this division.
DeGrom, how's DeGrom looked in spring?
You know what? I have not been keeping up with it. Let's pull something up.
I'm just curious. He feels like he's been out forever.
Well, yeah, he missed all of last year. And then he missed a lot of the year before with the Mets. So
that's right.
Healthy spring. I don't have his actual numbers, but
that's fine.
He pitched in spring. So I have a core 4 bets here. So 4 bets from this division that jump out to me. Home run leader Christian Walker of Houston, Patrick. He's 40-1. He's hit 30 home runs the last few years. Short porch again in left field. I think if he just goes dead Paul, he could have a monster season. This is a spicy one. The Houston Astros are my 3rd bet to miss the postseason at plus 145.
What's the number? I'm sorry, I stepped on you.
Plus 145.
To miss the postseason for the Astros.
Yep. I just think they're getting worse every year progressively. Second one, number 2 favorite bet, American League Rookie of the Year, Jack Leiter, Texas Rangers, 35-1. He was bad in 9 major league games last year. But in the AAA, he had 110 strikeouts in 77 innings pitched. He's got electric stuff. Maybe he calms down, figures this out. It's there for him, and I think he has a good chance of contending for this award. And then finally, I mentioned it. It's the Rangers to win the West at plus 225. I just think top to bottom, it's the best lineup. The rotation has enough upside to have them atop this division because I don't trust the Mariners' bats to score any runs for that pitching staff. The Rangers, to me, are the best team in this division.
Yeah, bounce back, like you mentioned, coming off the World Series. Oftentimes you see a dip, see a team regroup. This could be the Rangers' year. You know what I like? I like the Astros to miss the postseason. I like that bet.
I mean, America wants that. We're over the Astros.
We are very much over the Astros. The big guy is not over Major League Baseball, though. You got to get. We haven't done your Mets. Have we done the East?
I was saving the NL East for the end because I feel like that is the most intriguing division.
That's a crazy division because you mentioned Atlanta. Philly's going to be great. The Mets are going to be pesky, but Philly and Atlanta are legit World Series contenders.
Oh, yeah. No, the Mets have some holes. Now, the Mets do have some interesting upside. They have some young guys that are going to be given chances, but it's the pitching that's a big concern. Philly, I think Philly's pitching's awesome. I mean, Wheeler is so reliable, but the Luzardo addition in the back end, that's as good of a 4 or 5 as any other team's going to throw out there. And then for Atlanta, I've not seen a team get hit with the injury bug like the Braves got hit with a year ago. I mean, They lost everyone. They lost Strider. They lost Riley. Albies was out for a while to the point where he came back. He only hit from the right side of the plate. Acuna was out for the year. He's going to miss the start of this year. There was just a lot of injuries when it came to the Braves. I just have questions about how easy it's going to be for them to rebound. I love the talent, but I think they're in a tough spot.
Well, let's do the NL East tomorrow because I'm excited to hear your breakdown of that. The Knicks ended up beating the Mavs 128-113. Josh Hart, 16 points, 12 boards, 11 dimes, 2 steals. So nice, well-rounded. Anunoby had 35 points tonight.
Oh, nice of him to show up.
Anunoby, 35. Towns, 26, 12, and 11. Wow, big performances by your Knicks.
Yeah.
You're out on the Knicks, dude.
Dallas is on a back-to-back, though, without Anthony Davis. Like, Najee Marshall's playing 38 minutes. Now, he had 38 points. It's pretty impressive, but, like, I can't take too much away from this win. I think that I'm scared of your Pistons in the playoffs for my Knicks.
I hope they
terrified.
I hope they play each other. Now, the Knicks are going to be favored, but I hope they play each other.
Pistons
All right,
it's
good breakdown of the AL West from the big guy with the core 4. When we come back, we'll close tabs. It's VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio.
This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio with Patrick Meagher and Dustin Swedelson. Welcome back to VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio. Here's Patrick Maher and Dustin Swedelson.
Yeah, so the news, Dame Lillard has a blood clot in his right calf. He's out indefinitely. He's actually having a pretty good year. The Bucks stink, but Lillard was fine this year. Bummer for him with the blood clot, so he's out indefinitely. As we welcome you back, VSiN Live, Mad Dog Sports Radio. You can find us on YouTube at VSiN Live. Stop by, say hello to the boys. Let's close tabs before we get the hell out of here, Dustin Swedelson.
Okay, you asked the question with Russell Wilson signing with the Giants, Jameis Winston already there. Good luck to Giants quarterback coach. His name is Shea Tierney. He's 38 years old. He came to the Giants from the Buffalo Bills, also previously worked at Alabama, so has followed Brian Daboll at a couple of stops here, it looks like. So that is
whoever Shea Tierney is, that's the
luck.
quarterback coach. He has he needs a raise because he's going to be dealing with Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy. I don't know anything about Tommy DeVito's personality, but I know the other two's personalities stink.
I mean, maybe update the LinkedIn ahead of time. Just let people know you're looking. That's what I would suggest if I was Shane Tierney.
I would agree. What else is going on?
Well, Matt, one more quick on the Giants. Matt in L.A. called in and said, Dave Gettleman, we thought that was a low point for the Giants. I hate being the one to say this, but Dave Gettleman may not be as dumb as we portrayed him to be.
You'd rather have Gettleman than Shane.
He sold high on Odell Beckham Jr., and everyone freaked out about it. Guess what? OBJ did nothing leaving the Giants going to Cleveland. He drafted Barkley, which I still don't agree with the pick, but Barkley did just help lead a team to the Super Bowl and win Offensive Player of the Year. He drafted a franchise left tackle in Andrew Thomas. Dexter Lawrence is a monster. He found diamonds in the rough like Xavier McKinney and Julian Love. Dave Gettleman wasn't a total moron.
Total moron. That's a nice cosign for your boy Getz.
Mike Randle on the show earlier said, Kevin Willard, you're the leader here, about him asking the Maryland Terps who wants the last shot. Well, I'd say Kevin Willard may not be the leader of the Terps much longer because apparently Villanova is very interested. But I want to ask you this. Is Villanova a better job than Maryland?
Literally was just going to say the same thing. You got Big Ten money now with Maryland. My assumption, I don't know. The boosters are pretty intense at Villanova, but my assumption is you have more money. The one thing I would say is I think there's a bit of a disaster in the Maryland sports department because of the AD. There's always drama with that. So maybe Willard, maybe he gets a big bump to leave, or he could just use it as leverage to stay at Maryland and get a raise.
That's fair. And then I have to bring this up to you real quick. I'm at my girlfriend's place in L.A. I get there late last night. She falls asleep. She is dead asleep for 20 minutes, and I'm still up because I drove through the night. I'm a little wired. And then I hear this come out of her mouth. How can you enjoy the game when you don't know if it's going to go over or under? I said, excuse me? She said, what? I said, are you talking about totals? She said, ignore me. I'm asleep. I'm just saying stuff. And went right back to sleep. I have corrupted this poor girl to where she is just randomly having dreams about bets that she doesn't even place, but she's talking betting in her sleep out loud.
How's that make you feel?
I want to go see a therapist with her to apologize.
All right, there you go. Good job, big guy. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. Ryan, as always, appreciate it. Make sure to give us a follow on YouTube at VSiN Live. A Pros Pro, our guy, Andy Gresh, is coming up next here on Mad Dog Sports Radio. We'll see you tomorrow.
Covering the spread all night long. This is VSiN Live on Mad Dog Sports Radio.